This is a production of Darn TV.
Oh, dang.
Welcome to the Dirt Weekly. Another show, another week. Championship weekend is in the books. How exciting was that?
Wow. Delivered.
Delivered. The whole weekend delivered.
And a champion in our midst.
Well, yeah, thank you. Yes, again, we always wonder when the last ones were or are, and I thought maybe mine last one was a couple years ago, so this was a pleasant surprise. Appreciate.
Yeah. Seen some things this weekend. Now, somebody's going to have to correct me, but I don't believe that there's ever been a champion at all three tracks on the same year. Has
it ever happened? You mean all in the same weekend or just three period?
Well, Estevan, Williston, Minot. Them three particular tracks in the same year.
I have had three before, but not those three. So I've had Amanda and Minot.
Well, not only
rugby
was it done once, it was done twice this last week.
Yes. Yeah, to start there, I mean, I made the comment there's going to be some happy people and some sad people. I'm excited to report that we had very little sad people, and right. I think that's exciting for everybody. I also mentioned that everybody was going to be glad when it was over, and I'm certain we're all on board for that. So
I think everybody is glad.
I'm going to say no.
No?
Well, I don't want it to be over. I mean, that was all so good. Now we got this special time.
I guess I specifically mean points racing is over.
Right.
when you
and all the
when you turn the lights off at Estevan and you're like, well, we'll see you next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of depressing.
That wasn't right there. We got to get their fall show tuned up here. Or get fall shows tuned up in August. It makes more sense after this weekend. So, yeah. Wow. Mother Nature left us alone. We got to race. Everybody's on time. Tracks are looking good. So we go to Estevan first, Friday.
Yep.
And
you want me to? Let's roll into this real quick. The show rundown on the left side of your screen. When I point over here to the left. On the left side of your screen is presented by Sebo Motorsports, specializing in high-performance parts and chassis repair. Call Ryan, 701-720-3889 for all your hot rod and racing needs.
Craig had asked questions if things were lining up for Ryan for some rear-end work.
We're working on some rear ends.
For the beater hobby program.
Yes, we're working on some rear ends.
One's getting a tune up, the other one's getting a freshen up. One's getting new mounts.
The problem is with time.
Yeah.
We're not going to get it done before the weekend. So just going to this whole Friday race night thing is kind of shortens up your work week on.
It does. It does.
When you can get things done.
When you're racing Sunday night and got to be back Friday night.
And plus we're in full Boone mode for Brock. So things are basically the last two nights have been all Brock getting ready for Boone.
Getting him and Adam out of here tomorrow.
Yep.
So then
I believe there's going to be a convoy. It's going to be like Kyler, Adam, Robbie, Brock.
And Robbie, yeah.
Smalls is going to leave about the same time. So I think there might be a convoy leaving.
When we can get them out of here tomorrow, we'll work on our own stuff tomorrow night.
That's where we're at.
Okay.
Speaking of the weekend.
That's what we're doing.
So you're racing Friday night at Estevan, Williston, Saturday, back home here Sunday.
Yeah.
You're broadcasting all this, and I'm doing my thing living in Minot and thinking about you guys running all over the countryside, racing and doing it. It's exhausting what I do, let alone what you guys put into it.
And it wasn't early nights.
No.
I think it was a little after 2:30 when we got home from Estevan.
Yeah, and then it was. And again, we got the hour difference.
Time change.
We're always going to be up against that, and we expect that and whatnot. Just to talk about the late nights, because they were, and Williston had their auction, the Bras for a Cause. Great deal. That $16,000 was raised. Everything is valid. But that led to a later evening there also. So by the time we got home to Minot, it's like, what day is it? Where am I at? Oh, wait, we start in a few hours. I got to get ready. I'm shot. Throwing a little bit of trouble in the mix of things, which you always have, and
Monday morning was really tough to get up and go to work.
It was.
Is there any enjoyment after the races, or is it just strictly business? Is there any time for any
It
fun?
really was. It was strictly business. Like Williston had fireworks, and I mean, us Minot guys were all backing out because we got Sunday, and so we didn't get to enjoy something. And again, they'd gotten rain on their July 2nd deal, so all this stuff had gotten moved to championship night. Everything makes sense, and it needed to be done that way. But again, it's championship weekend, all 3 tracks, and there are a bunch of us that are involved in all 3 of them. So
I'll get the apology out of the way now. We did not broadcast the fireworks because of the late night, the late hour. We packed up our stuff and we were on the road before the fireworks were even over. Nick and I, we had a little talk. I know the people on Darn TV want to watch fireworks.
Yeah.
I hear them, but I also want to get as much sleep as I can before Nodak, because it was 2:30 again. I think it was 2:30 when I rolled in my house.
We crossed each other at Stanley, so.
Yeah, you didn't know who we were, did
you?
No,
it took me a while. I'm like, oh, who are these weirdos? Oh, it's Nick and Brandon.
It's the comedy show rolling down the road. We do some weird things.
Yeah, I turned on the dome lights so I could see the criminals involved. So, yeah.
So
go ahead.
Where do we want to start? Friday in Estevan, right?
Friday, Estevan. Points races.
I updated the little
close.
graphic here. We'll put this up for the people.
Okay.
I didn't really go into detail. We can talk about each race.
Yeah.
Hobby stocks.
Again, we had we presented the point spread last week, and very few of these things were runaways.
Right.
Certainly in the hobbies, anyway, and that's looks like where we're going to start. So.
Yeah, hobby stocks. Kyler Satrin had a 4-point lead, I believe, over Brenner Ginstead. I guess I should have put both of them up there.
Yeah, I think that's how I remember 4 points. So, Kyler, we've touched on him all year long. Always prepared, always meticulous, and
hold on with that. Always prepared. So if you're Kyler in line and you're driving to Estevan, and you know that you're in line for doing this, the triple crown going on, you got everything just tight, best motor, everything. That car's got to be bulletproof.
Yeah.
Lon's coaching Kyler, keep your nose clean, everything.
Mechanics by day, so their own expectations are high.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And maybe having a subpar previous weekend.
So, and that's where I was going to go right out of the gate. Kyler Satrin the previous few weekends, I'm going to call it few weekends.
Yeah.
Maybe
to cover all the tracks.
Wasn't where he was earlier in the year.
Yeah.
When he showed up and he went out there for the feature in Estevan, the Kyler Satrin of June was there to race.
Was there. That's just what I saw. Maybe some things weren't going right earlier in the month of August, and you're like, oh, what's going on there? Removed all doubt starting Friday night.
Starting Friday night. When he made the statement he made Friday night in Estevan, because he drove right up to second place, he did not push the envelope once he got there. He knew
time was on his side.
I'm here.
Yeah.
We're going to count these laps down, and I'm going to go home a champion.
Yeah.
And
Craig referred to things as it's a race within a race. I think that's an accurate definition of championship night. I played it myself. So, but yes, so the chess pieces are being moved around here. So, Landon won the race.
Great for Landon. Had a struggle this year. Landon hasn't been the Landon Runge of the last couple years. Mm-hmm. Some say it's because of COVID. So he was up here in COVID. He was the hobby stock to beat a lot of nights. Well, the Americans showed up, and maybe Landon.
The challenges changed.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that. But Landon deserved a feature win this year. He needed a feature win to validate that he is a fast race car.
Yeah.
And he's right there with everybody else. But Kyler driving from the point invert position. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm going to say nobody changed up the whole lineups. How lame was that? After we put everybody on notice, whatever.
Yeah.
Get creative, people.
Fall scheduling talk.
Get creative. Kyler started.
Start them straight up. Now that it's over, start them straight up. So, okay, continue.
Kyler made a statement, drove right up to second in no time.
Mm-hmm. Got where he knew he needed to be.
And just let it ride.
Cemented it down.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Max made me super nervous because he tried to poke underneath Kate.
And me.
Yeah.
We were sitting together.
Yeah. Tried to poke underneath Kyler a couple times, and the last thing that I wanted to do was that boy to
there was some door touchy-feelies there,
Yep.
and I seen the dad come out in you.
Oh, I was upset with Max. I went down to Max when the race was all over, and I said, hey, you ran the best race of your young career tonight. You did, 100%. And I said, I'm going to send you home with this message. Know your race, know your place. If you were to accidentally cut down Kyler's tire or have contact that would affect Kyler's championship, you would not be able to live with yourself.
And you were in the zone.
Yes.
It's why the 5 car stayed home.
That's
why the 67 car didn't get too fast in Estevan. So right.
Lessons were learned. I said, Max, years from now, when you're racing for a championship and somebody gets in your area and causes you to maybe lose a championship, you will think back to this and you will understand why we had this conversation.
Yeah. Championship nights, as we shared, 2-3 cars. There's special nights for them, and we need to let that play out.
If you wanted to, that's what I said.
Negatively helping.
You were in the lead early on, and you had a fast enough car to win that race. You chose to block the bottom, leaving the lane that you just passed for the lead. He was a groove up, pass for the lead, and then move down to the bottom, and then Landon Runge goes by.
We saw that all weekend. Again, the race inside the race.
Race inside the race. That's a great statement.
Well, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but you won that race in Nodak. I think you were the first one to see the top. You and Brandon Labatt, and I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go, Jordan. Yeah. And it was coming.
Yeah, it was changing quickly. And again, I'll play that when we get there. But, yes, the race within the race.
Sport Mods, Darren Medler won the feature.
Yeah.
He had not been there every single night. We had a visit from Darren Medler, and Smalls Medler came in the A mods, so it was kind of neat to see both Medlers up there.
It was.
Robbie had a 29-point lead going into championship night.
Robbie secured that with a green flag in the heat.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And just to clarify again, we're a learning channel here. In IMCA, if you take a green in the heat race, you are guaranteed at least last place points in the feature. So.
By taking a green in the heat.
With a 29-point lead, and let's say, I don't remember what they had for cars. We'll say 15. So once Robbie took a green in the heat race, 15th place would be 26 points. So there was no catching him.
There was none.
Thank you for explaining that rule. Nick brought that up quite a bit about if Travis could advance to the A in Minot, if he would just win or make the show, he'd get the championship. And I was like, why is he saying that? What is the real reason behind that? But there you go.
Well, and again, I just heard little different things. We got to make sure he starts the feature. But you don't. I mean, in the event that that there was less cars there, then your point lead. In the case of Robbie, and this was the case. Once he took the green in the heat, it established that he was there. It established that he was going to get a point value for his sign-in, if you will. So had Robbie, he took the green, and I'll use a completed lap just to secure my statement here, but had he completed a lap and blown up going into 2, he still could not have been caught at that point.
Correct.
Without even starting the A main.
You talked about
Many
Kyler.
people don't know that for sure or are unclear, and I'm just offering a clearing moment
I love
here.
that point.
So, okay.
Kyler, you mentioned about how
Now he had 4 points. he had to play. He had to play.
he started hot in June.
Mm-hmm.
So did Robbie.
Yeah.
Robbie cooled off. Kyler cooled off. And then they got hot when it counted.
Did they cool off, or were they maybe they stepped back and saved their stuff a little bit? I don't know what the answer is.
Well, you talk about these nights consecutively. There's got to be some fatigue that sets in.
I guess I'm going to interject that when you're going good, the proverbial don't fix it if it ain't broke. So we ride that horse for a little while. We ride it for 2-3 nights. Nothing's broke, and it's competitive. All of a sudden, I ain't fixed nothing or even chase speed for a while, and competition never rests, and all of a sudden, I can't make the top 5 here. And I've been snoozing per se because I was good enough to last me a while. So I think that's what you get with a hot streak. You get a hot streak, well, let's not back this thing up. So you ride the horse, as I say, and then all of a sudden, everybody else got, they found some magic too, and now you're jittery there for a little while.
And maybe you're
Fall
not up on the wheel as much. Maybe
Yeah.
you've won a few times and you're not as hungry for it.
You've been satisfied with some wins possibly, and if you're points chasing, you might still be leading it as some of these guys have done since night one. So it's an ebb and flow there. I mean, you don't, as I say, you don't want to spin out leading the feature either. So I mean, yeah, there's a 90% value there all the time, where 100 might spin you out, but 90 doesn't. But 90 might get you third instead of first. So there's some of that.
We saw that somewhere this weekend where someone spun out leading the herd.
Well,
I think that was Minot Sport Mod feature. I think so.
I don't know.
Huh.
Stock cars. It was a
cars.
battle between Chris Hortness, Adam Goff. Adam took a 1-point lead into championship night over Chris Hortness.
Yeah.
An interesting feature.
Very. Well, as the night goes on, I'm going to share, I think, the most interesting feature of the weekend. Not just because I'm involved in the class, but because of the math and the calls.
Yes.
And the overcoming adversity.
What a stud.
Wow.
What a stallion.
Let's give a salute.
Because we were talking all year about
that was a
slide
great
jobs getting you rattled. Mm-hmm. And Chris is driving his race and not really driving as hard as I've seen him drive, but he was right there.
Sizing it up.
And he's literally in the middle of the pond doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets called to go to the back, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, there was a hard, for whatever reason, I'm not sure. The car was on the bottom. I think it was it Hagen on the bottom? And then going down the back straightaway, I don't know if Mike thought going to the outside was the lane. There was a car there, which I think was the 46 of Mann.
Yep.
And then Hortness was there, too.
He's in the middle.
In
defending Mike was far enough ahead to not see him.
Yep, to
not see where they're at, and yet Chris has ran himself out of a defensive move, possibly, because, again, he's concentrating on this 1-point race. Yeah, continue.
And then, so the carnage happens going into turn 3. Thankfully, nobody got tore up. Nobody got tore up. Cars kind of spun all over the place. Hortness gets called for the yellow.
Gets the call.
Goes to tail. Then you've seen the Hortness of.
Woo! Wow.
He put on a driving display.
As a driver, let's stop right there and let's just breathe through this a little bit. This is a 1-point race. Adam is a dear friend of ours, and Adam now is up there, and Chris is now back here. We're halfway through this race. I think it's around lap 10, I think, if I remember right. So now the whole championship is laying on a 10-lap run here. Adam's got 1 point, and Adam, I think, is in second or third at this time.
I think he was in third.
Third, okay.
But Adam got a terrible restart.
Well, and again, just how the cards fall. As this is why we go racing every weekend, because we want to see what the fourth and fifth dimension is in the race.
So we just talked about this. Maybe you get lulled to sleep and you're not running as hard. Well, Chris is awake now.
Yeah.
And he's driving angry.
So if you think and I've talked to Adam today, helping him get ready for Boone and stuff, and we didn't talk about this particular race, but now if you're Adam and you know that Chris just got sent to the back, now it's like, okay, don't do nothing tricky or weird here. Drive this horse home. You are ahead and you got the point you need. So as a racer, I know what Adam's thinking, I think, but now if you're Chris, it's like, oh boy. I mean, we're swinging for the bleachers at
that point in time,
here.
He has nothing to lose.
It's like him and his car are one. And he's like, all right, boy, let's go. And just he's spurring that thing. And
he was running third there. He had them 2 cars. I think he had Schulp and I can't remember who else was in
Davison
front.
was in there.
Davidson led most of the race. Hats off to Chase.
Chase, good run.
Leading most of the race.
Chase chasing his first feature win, and it's all in place till the last corner of the last lap. Continue.
It was so fun.
Him and Kyle are racing hard. Yep. And
And to your point,
pure tenacity out of Chris. And, I mean, he just lifts this thing.
And Davidson are racing.
Yes.
And I'm thinking about what you say about not affecting the race, the championship. They very well could be the way they're racing. And
as a racer, you want to be ahead of the two that are close or behind them. My opinion.
Yeah.
In between is that's the math in between them. So, wow.
Makes a last lap, last corner pass to pick up the feature win and ride off in the sunset as the champion.
So takes a tough call. I'm not going to get into the judgment of it, but he takes a tough call, goes to the back. I mean, this is storybook city. I mean, this is what bestsellers are made out of.
Lows, the lows of racing. That was an ultimate low of racing.
Wow. It's like, how did I get to the back of the pack here? The race is half over. I need it all.
And then in victory lane, the gentleman doing the announcing, he says, "I don't want your opinion on the call," but I'm like.
I'm sure Chris, before he got out of the car, maybe had some words with him.
Okay, you got what you came for. Let's talk accordingly. I've shared before, and I don't have a close friendship with Chris, but I certainly have what I would call a very respectful friendship with him. And I've shared that Chris is a real racer, not necessarily always cars, very competitive with snowmobiles, and he's a multi Estevan champion, and he's added another one.
And the reason it happened is you two brought this up last week. Got sent to the back for the betterment of the show.
Well, as a savvy grandstand guy would say.
For the betterment of the show.
That's a stretch, but I'm following.
We do not speak on behalf of any of the officials at the Estevan Motor Speedway.
Yeah, we're not second-guessing the judgment call.
We are independent talkers.
We're playing the strides coming back. So, awesome feature. Adam come up short. He's runner-up. He's already told me he's going to get it next year, and we'll all be there to help. So, but for the stock cars, congratulations, Chris. That showed what pure shared with him determination. It was just phenomenal. I mean, sometimes car racers or motorsports racers get a little bit of a rap that they're not athletes, but that was a full athletic move that was on display there. The fans, me as a driver in the race, we got to see real tenacity.
How long have you been racing? 40 years, 50 years? I've been watching it 40 years. Yeah. And you see something like that, and that's why you continue to watch more.
Yeah. I mean, you look for those golden moments, and that ain't going away from my mind for a long time. Like I say, it was on the back of my friend Adam, but Adam ended up having a good weekend before it was over. So the spoils were spread out evenly, but good on Chris. He just he held his anger, if you will, in a competitive way. He didn't let it spin out. He didn't let it run over anybody. He gathered it all up and put it all into straightforward motion.
Yep.
And he won a championship with it. So good on him. Good on him.
Modifieds, Travis Hagen, I think all he had to do was take a green flag again.
I think that was another deal. Yeah.
16-point advantage. I can't remember the car count, but I don't think they were over 15 or 16 cars.
So right on the border again. So and Travis would have known that right off the bat. We had shared there was some extra preparation there that he had the GRT ready if needed, and him and I didn't get in those deep talks because it never did materialize over the weekend. But again, Travis just again knows the game well, knows when you gotta hold him and when to fold him.
How many wins does he have up there? I know he got that one
just the one, I believe.
And Isaiah, just the one.
Okay.
Because if you think of Estevan.
Because Steven
won 2.
Yeah.
Cody's won quite a few.
2, 3. Yeah.
So it's interesting how he won it. He champion in many different ways.
Well, and as we get through the week, I'm going to share some stats also that are just things that you think about. So,
pulling it up here now for the modifieds. Do they give us all the details here? If I click this button.
While you're looking that up, I want to go back to stock cars heat race. Ed pulls out his 10, and he's
Wow.
I don't know what is it with you studs up in Estevan. You going 45 degrees off the wall, ripping your rear end off, and then you drive into the pits. He rolls. I've never seen this before. Rolls his car and drives away.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened?
I was in that heat race, and as we wheeled into the corner, and it was tacky, I seen Ed starting to pick up. I mean, he started what we call bicycling. You're on 2 wheels. So I see it starting to get up, and I just gassed it forward. I could tell this wasn't going to end right. Of course, I was able to watch the replay, and Brendan got underneath him there as he was up on 2. But as I shared with Ed, I want some of your side bite because that was impressive. So, I mean, it just had enough traction that the car just lifted up. And
so you want it that way?
Well,
you don't want it that much.
Maybe not on that much traction, but I sure would like to find it when it isn't, which is all the other times. So, but yeah, he drove it away, and he was also able to come back out and start the feature with it.
So not a lot of damage.
You know, there was cosmetic there, but again, a stock car is a pretty simple car. It's just got the 4, stock trailing links in the back, and for the most part, they're either there or they ain't. So in this case, they were there.
Well, what about the head game in Ed's mind? I mean, you just rolled your car.
I don't think Ed even thought about it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think Eddie's rolled cars much as I haven't either. But at the same time, I have a little bit, and kind of like the Chris Horton deal, you just all of a sudden you go from paying attention to super paying attention, and now you're just out to fix it.
And he's not feeling any pain going into the A, but probably Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Or no, that had been set. Well, probably not because he went to Williston to race the modified.
Yeah, you're right. I was actually looking forward to him coming to Minot with one or the other. And of course, Monday morning everywhere. So I get that. But jumping around, I'd heard so at least before that night had started, that he was going to bring stock car down to Motor Magic this weekend. I haven't heard if that's changed or not. We had just some small talk in Williston there. He had the modified there. So I guess I'm reading into that he's coming down. I don't know which car, and maybe both. Who knows? So, as we shared, it's always nice when the Orange 10A is in the house. So
I wonder if there's some plans of putting a nice orange wrap on that baby.
On the stock car? Yeah. Well, I would, or I did, put a fresh green wrap on the old car. So.
Well, they have their identifiable colors, and
it's important. Know which crayon you are in the box. So.
Sammy Swindell, World of Outlaws, his Channel Lock Blue Sprint.
Yeah.
Steve Kinzer, the Quaker State Green. I mean, they're identifiable, and you need them that way.
Yeah.
Your green, Ed's orange. Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, we got a little bit off topic. Modifieds again.
Cody
the Codester.
4 feature wins for Cody.
As I shared going into the tour time there, Cody's the real deal. And he was winning at what I call not on the top edge. He was a row down in the black.
Yep.
And he continues to race there, and he continues to win there. That is a strong needed thing there to do well. I know in the past he's raced in the wintertime down in Arizona and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff you need to be able to go forward with, as I shared with Sean Strand doing it that one day up here. You need to run on that part of the track competitively, and Cody has been doing it all summer up here. Cody can go anywhere and be a threat for sure. So, nice feature win for him. Travis, the champion. Again, I think Travis had roughly 12 to 15 point leads at all 3 tracks going into the weekend. So the champion wasn't a surprise. And again, the feature was a good race. Again, when you're talking Estevan and Aaron and Travis and Cody, you see Estevan driving around 4th place. You're like, well, what's going on here? Well, what's going on here is, to me, the fastest modified guys of the weekend are there. Yeah. All of them. I'm not discounting the other tracks, but Smallsy's in the middle of this thing too. Yep. I mean, that's a fast A-mod feature up there.
Well, that was a good. Yeah, you're 100%.
The Dakota Modified Tour.
The
modifieds at each track was Cody Schlope, the only local to win in Estevan.
Well, Travis Hagen won in Mandan.
Mandan.
There you go.
Yeah. Cody did win at his home track, and Travis won at a track that I felt was maybe a little bit out of his wheelhouse, which was exciting. But
you come to Estevan, you better come to play.
Yeah. Don't be going looking for an easy one, because it might be the hardest one. So, yeah. Good night.
Slingshots, Hudson Madden picked up the feature win. Unfortunately, I didn't spend much time watching them. I was in the pits with Max and Brock. Brock at that time, Brock brought a brand new sport mod up there to try it out before the fall specials at the end of the year here. Jacek Ashworth picks up the championship. I believe he had about a 12-point lead going in.
And we weren't quite sure how their points structure
It's obviously
worked.
1 point per position.
It was also the same. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
From what
so he had almost a night on him. He was close then.
Yep.
But
He had 10-point lead going into it, according to my graphic from last week. So, and 11 points over Hudson Man. So he did what he had to do.
I remember Brogan Wagner's name, at the beginning of the year and stuff like that being a real prominent name. So for Jack to, keep it together all year long and do what championship stuffs are made out of, salute to him.
Overall,
nice championship, Jack.
Great night of racing.
Yes.
Great night to kick off the weekend.
Agree. I agree.
Great season to be back at the Estevan Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
I cannot wait till next year already.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just no downers here. They were actually able to make up that rain night, so they actually had a season
Perfect
of no
season.
rainouts. Yep, they had no rainout season.
Now, when you get to the next two tracks we go to, it's a different story
Yeah.
on the rainouts.
On the rainouts.
And just referencing how to win a championship, we know that Estevan was very, very dominant up there.
Yes.
Had one bad night where the car failed him.
Yep.
We know
blew up
broken motor.
We know Slato was leading the points in the slingshot division. And
Yep.
just as it's important to take care of our equipment, the body, can fail too.
Messing around at home on a motorcycle like
And-
his dad and I have done before with the same results.
And so the body
Sorry,
let him down
Steven.
there
So, yeah.
and possibly
Well-
cost him a championship.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. Championships aren't just your performance on the track, but it's kind of how you're living your daily life, if you will. And I'm certainly not beating up Sladen because I raced motorcycles and broke more than one bone. But
Here's my message. Kids need to be kids.
Yeah.
Let them be kids. Slato, ride that bike whenever you get a chance. Because if Max had one and he broke a leg or a hip or something, I'd say, as soon as you're healed up, get back on it and go again.
Yeah.
But it's
hoping
more-
to get Slato out on the field for football. I know he's going to practice, so it's a collarbone deal, and because I've broke one, doing the same thing, they do heal fast, and they even heal faster when you're young. So,
But in
same on the
reference to
football
that,
field.
Jorn, you drivers that are champions, you just don't go to the lake and hop on a jet ski and take a Saturday night off. You don't go to a football game on a Friday night when you got a race in Williston.
You're not riding motorcycles on the street.
Yeah, so there's sacrifices that extend so deep.
I've sometimes thought of that. As goofy as that sounds, every once in a while you're looking around going, I'm not going to go riding motorcycles on the street today. I got a championship in the runnings here. We're going to leave that alone until September. Maybe we'll go for a ride type of deal.
You were in the championship running in Williston, and you were planning your Sturgis Rally trip for the bike, and you said, maybe I'd not do that this year.
Yeah,
I
not
would
this
like
year.
to see Jorn on a Harley or a bike. Do you
Sorry,
have one?
Tina. 20 years in a row, we're still not going to Sturgis. Shh, working on it. A funny because Tina does enjoy going for a motorcycle ride. We'll borrow one or whatever type of deal. But my middle, Katie, she says, "Dad, you know how to ride a motorcycle?"
They wouldn't even know.
Well, no, they wouldn't. But 4-time state motocross champion. But other than the small details, I do know how to ride a motorcycle.
That was like a different lifetime, though, doesn't it feel like?
Wow. I can't believe it was me. I watched Supercross going, those guys are nuts. Oh, wait.
I love it. Supercross is one of my favorite things to watch, man.
My brother and I went to the Seattle Kingdom in 1979 and participated in the amateur event.
Oh,
We did not do good, but we were there. Seattle Kingdom, they blew it up. They dropped it on the ground, but not in 1979.
Interesting fact.
Pump the brakes on that. They blow up the Kingdom, and we're doing everything we can to get a dome here.
Yeah.
If they'd have just picked it up and brought it over here, us North
Yeah.
Dakotans would have been happy with the
We love
Marketplace
it.
Kingdom.
Couple of Blackhawks. Hey, Nick, it's coming in. Mow the grass.
Do you have the pad leveled yet?
Well, we'll jack up one corner. Don't break the roof.
Should we move to Williston, night 2 of our championship weekend, Williston?
Let's do it.
Hobby Stocks, Kyler Satrin. I'll pull it up here. I should have had it up already. think he came in with similar lead that he had in. He was leading all three of them going into
kind
the
of in a
weekend.
4, 5, 6 point range.
Yeah.
So
he had a 4-point lead over Brenner Gridstedt here. It was like I think
Yeah.
Estevan might have been 5 or whatever.
okay.
4-point lead over Grinstead. Knew what he had to do. And once again, as we talked the night before, Kyler of June showed up to Williston, made a statement, drove to the front, picked up the feature win.
Yeah. Just
stamped his name as a champion.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. Again, not to keep tickling the last couple of weeks there, but car was free and just not what it had been in June. And like you say, the car of June, or the driver the driver and car of May and June for that matter, showed back up, and maybe even a little stronger than May and June. And that's exactly what he's going to need going into this next weekend.
Did you see Kyler dragging around his backup? He has that other hobby.
Yep.
Did he have that with him at Estevan in Williston?
Nope.
Not with. They just had the one truck, trailer, and
one
car.
car.
So the other car, unless it was here in Minot, I don't know that.
I don't think so. I only seen one car all weekend.
You're right. In Estevan Williston, it was just the one car, and they do have multiples.
And if there would have been a scenario where the 5 car would have been fixed, the 5 car most likely would have been in the trailer for a just-in-case scenario for any championship contender in the hobby stocks.
Yeah.
I was not going to race it, but if somebody needed it, I would have made it available. Probably not with Dion Iverson's blessing, but I would have asked for forgiveness rather than
permission.
As much as Jordan is in admiration of it, he'd probably be like,
Yeah.
Brandon, I'm having a little ignition trouble.
I really should hot lap that thing soon. So, right.
So Kyler's statement there, great first 2 nights of the weekend. I thought Kyler building the momentum for Sunday night, and I believe he would have thought, and we as a group, when you're looking at the track championship, Minot was going to be his toughest
deal. Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's some different players.
Gets 2 out of 2 going into the first 2 nights. Ed Conlon in the sport mods, as he said in Victory Lane, was not going to be there. And he wasn't
there. Somebody had shared possibly a wedding, so maybe he was involved in or something. But I was surprised.
Obviously, Tanner didn't have to be there, so how much of a wedding was it?
Well, maybe a friend. I'm not sure. So, yeah.
Hopefully it wasn't family.
Yeah.
It's a sister, you know.
I was fully expecting to see the go for it, and it wasn't there. So now we have a killer battle. We've got Tanner and Darren tied.
Whoever's in front of the other.
Wow.
With a Tate Johnson, only one back of them two.
Right. So we are dead tied. Whoever beats who, given that Tate don't beat them both by 2 cars, is going to be the track champion. Wow.
And
this was a nail-biter down to the last 30 feet of the straightaway.
And going into 3, Tanner gets a run, a gorgeous run. There's no contact. I thought he was going to get him. Just sometimes when you get washed up coming out of 4, I didn't think Darren would have it to come out. And poof, that was just a straight drag race out of 4 to the line.
Wow. Nail-biter.
That was awesome.
That was
awesome to watch.
That was
if you put your arm out the windows, does that help?
Well, I mean, leaning forward seems like it does against the belts.
That's what you said, transponder placement. I love that.
Transponder.
Can you have it on the nose?
Out on a fishing rod.
But Darren Medler picking up another track championship. I think maybe he's already had 1 or 2 over there.
It seems like it.
I know he's had a couple in Minot. It seems like Williston he's been pretty successful over there.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff I need to put it together. The whole track championship history, I guess I should have got on that a little bit more, huh?
Wednesday comes fast after Sunday.
Way too damn fast.
You do
During
plenty,
the Boone Week.
Brandon. So Keenan Glasser, I'm putting the pieces together. Obviously, his car is the same font as Cody's, Schlope. And Keenan gave a lot of love to his uncle, who helps him out so much. I'm assuming that's Cody.
It is.
Yep.
And that is super cool that they have that relationship.
Yep.
And it's paying dividends for Keenan. He ran a great race.
First feature win in the States. He won one during COVID up in Estevan.
Okay.
So his second career feature win in an IMCA Sport Mod. Just a young kid still.
Side note, slingshot driver.
Slingshot driver.
So,
came from the slingshot ranks.
Here we are already. I mean, we're feeding we're feeding Major League Baseball here. So yes, farming camps. So nice job, Keenan. Again, a slingshot driver, successful slingshot driver. Him and his grandpa Chris, which would be Kyle and Cody's dad, were instrumental in getting the slingshots going, and they still are going. And
well, I would think that transition from slingshot to sport mod would be, it's probably got better traction than the slingshot. They're probably carrying the same amount of speed.
I would say similar speed again as we're sharing these
slingshots can move.
They're getting around pretty good. I mean, on the stopwatch, they're off very little.
But they don't look like they're. I mean,
they're bouncing and
they
stuff.
They don't look like they're that gripped down to the track. So the mods probably feels pretty good for Keenan.
You know, and also as Brandon always brings up the fact that the steering quickener is in the sport mod. So the quick steering of the slingshot would be what the sport mods are too. So. Like you say, he'd won a feature before, and he won another one. So
this one was the first one that kind of validated we're not downplaying COVID racing up there in Estevan. They kept the track going, they kept racing. Mm-hmm. But when you come down to Williston, it's another level of a win.
It is.
Se.
Yeah.
You beat
I
Darren
think they'd
Medler.
say that.
I think they would agree.
I think they would say that. Yeah.
You beat Darren Medler, and then you beat your track champion of Tanner Conlon.
Yeah.
You're ahead of them. That says a lot right there.
It says a lot right there. It does. Yeah. And, again, a good race.
Although that storm was coming. If there'd have been a few more laps, I don't know if I'd want to.
That's going to be interesting.
We talk about the race within the race, but nonetheless, the race was good too. So, yeah.
Stock cars, you had a 3-point lead over Justin Bachmeyer.
Stock cars, yes.
I don't even think you've seen Bachmeyer the whole race. He was behind you, wasn't he?
Well, and as you shared, the last 3-night point average is how you line up.
That affected your deal.
So it's not as obvious as it sounds like it should be. So, Justin and I were both able to qualify through our heats. So
get into that invert.
Yes. So, oh boy, right off, where was I at? I believe I was 4th outside, and he was 5th inside, which even struck me weird. And I know what we know what we're talking about. But so, and then Jason Storbakken was 7 behind me. Him and I were the 4th row, and then Justin was the 5th inside. So that was the points racers,
the little triangle
as we'd set up last week. Now, I'm just going to use my terms. The fast guys had a bad night, so they had all qualified and they were all ahead of us. So they were the first, 3 rows.
Yep.
So now the chess game. Can one of us 3 get through that? It wasn't looking good for the 67 car, so I wasn't quite sure how it was looking for them. But at any rate, again, Williston is working on track conditions and stuff like that. And all I can say is I'm very grateful the wingless sprints were there that night.
To help blow some of that off.
Yeah, because they had dug and watered at halftime, which was awesome. But there is something in their track that water turns into a greasy, slimy mess. I think they got a bunch of Stay Wet in there or something like that, and it's going to work its way out. But thank goodness the wingless were there and were able to, if you will, bring us in a nice racetrack. So I spent the entire race within the race managing this deal. So if there was times that it looked like I could maybe have done something different, you might be right. But the big picture was I needed to keep a little safety around me, and I think I did a pretty good job at that.
Yeah,
I did have Justin beside me once, and I had where I could have 2 cars between us.
Yep.
And still break the tie, given he didn't win. So, but what a great race up front. Wow. Mike had his hands full.
He did. Adam Goff was there. Troy
Hyper was there.
Troy
and John was. Joe was there.
Joe was there.
So.
Well, that's one thing that we've been struggling to see in Williston is another groove, the top groove, and Troy, again, another lap. Possibly he's getting Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden he found it, and Troy was coming.
Early on, I thought I had something for Troy. Again, I was racing a different race within the race. But to see him at the end, like you say, be a lane up, that was a good race. So.
And Mike made reference, he said, it's everything that thing's got. I mean, and if anybody pushed the car to the limit, he did.
I think we were all plenty hot, too. I mean, we hadn't really, been on a track that really pulled us down, and there was a lot of 250 temperatures that were being chirped. I was just short of 240, and Adam was in the same spot. So, but yeah, Adam was right in the middle of that thing too. So the front 4 guys were having quite a race. Us 3 points guys were kind of in our little zone, if you would, or we'll be there. And nobody DNF'd. It played itself out to the end on the track.
And you guys all finished. Storbach and one ahead of you.
Yeah.
Then you.
Jason was ahead of me.
Bachmeier.
Justin was behind me. And, really in reflection, just a grounded reflection, that kind of how we'd been for probably the last 3 weeks there too. So nobody really had a better night than they had been having. And so it was maybe a little bit uneventful. Nonetheless, some new cars showed up there, the proverbial championship night. A few new cars showed up. So that could have been something that would have played in had somebody not finished.
Congratulations. I was happy to see the chrome out there for championship. I'm a sucker for chrome wheels.
Well, you said that there, and I made reference to Billy. I said, we got to wake this chrome up a little bit. I said, guys are noticing.
They shine so nice.
So here we are. We're shining up wheels. We got big things to do, but we're shining up wheels.
And then you have me. I didn't even notice it.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, just to revert back for a couple seconds here, back to Estevan. I actually had a fuel pump problem. I won the heat race. The thing wasn't running right, so you got to ask yourself, how good do these things have to run to win? Because it wasn't running right. Long story long, I'm changing a fuel pump. I'm having a heck of a time. Brandon senses me running around with a flashlight, and as you get older, your ability to hold bolts and start them and all that with a fuel pump and the rod in the way and all that there is challenging. Long story long, the Sport Mods had enough yellows to get me out in the feature. So, and again, thank you to my wandering
I didn't do
pit
much.
man.
I just kind of came over there and held the light.
Held the flashlight, found the Allen wrench that dropped, and we got it all put back together. I think you helped me with the window net.
Well, Brandon saved Brenner Grinstead last year on championship night in
Williston.
With the tie rod deal.
Yeah,
would you do it with a crescent wrench?
Smalls was under there with me. It was
a tie rod. I'm telling you.
We changed the whole tie rod, the whole from the
center. That is hard to do on a small
out.
GM car because the drag link is right against the cross member. So that was impressive.
It was done.
And he won the championship. So I had my magic leprechaun with. Thank you, buddy. I'll pay you back somewhere.
We're going to skip the mods in Williston for right now. We're going to go to the slingshots. Jacek Ashworth wins the championship in Estevan the night before, wins the feature in Williston, but Haley Maddox, the next generation of the Maddox racing family, wins the championship. Pretty cool to see that.
She was pretty happy, pretty stoked. Again, they brought us up for a small interview, if you will, after the races there, and her shyness and all that, and thanking her sponsors. It was pretty precious. So, congratulations,
Haley. It's good
Haley.
to see because Haley wasn't able to pick up any feature wins, so to get her up in front of the crowd hadn't been done yet. So having her up there,
I never thought of it that way. Yeah,
having her up there, being able to get interviewed and talk, and her
public
speaking.
Who knew we'd do that this way, huh?
Pretty dang neat.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Haley Maddox is Keith Maddox's daughter.
Yeah.
There's
the 28M.
28M stock car.
And Keith and Kevin are twins.
Yep.
So
we call them tons of fun. That's
well, you said it, I didn't.
That's Brad King's nickname for him.
Now, Keith and Kevin have been getting ribbed about Haley being the fastest Maddox.
Yep.
I'm not going to delve into anything, but congratulations, Haley.
Congratulations, Haley. Pretty cool. Pretty cool to get a championship at any level.
Yes.
The modified feature, when it goes for a championship, was pretty uneventful.
Yeah.
I think Travis
The
Hagen,
stage was set.
The stage was set. Travis Hagen, I think, if I remember right, taking a green flag in a heat race basically sewed it up. I can't remember how many cars were there. I guess I can look it up. I got it up here right now. Had a 16-point lead going into it.
Racy track.
Yep. 22 cars, so he did not have it wrapped up.
He
had to pass
22
some
cars. Okay. He had to not DNF.
Not
for
DNF.
sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Starting 12th. He started 12th, and his closest competitor was Medler, who started 11th. So that is a point average thing where that lined up perfect.
Yeah.
Put them both in the same row.
Their 3-night tally did make sense.
Yep.
Okay. Because for a lot of them it didn't. So true that. So okay. There was 22. Okay, yeah. So Travis has to pay attention.
Has to pay attention, has to get out there.
Don't get a wheel tore off.
Wayne Johnson and Jake Nelson kind of got out front right away. And was there some cautions, or how did it roll back? I'm trying to play the race back in my mind, I guess. But Travis ended up picking up the feature win.
Travis puts a slide job on Brady Biella for the lead.
There you go.
Three.
Biella was up there, too.
It was just
beautiful.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, no contact, and Brady didn't blink either. He crossed over and was right back, but Travis knows how to play that momentum game so good.
Just an
Come out of
artist with
four,
the paintbrush.
He's like, bye, boys.
Brady's his boss during the daytime. So
I joked. Now, this is just me talking. Please, if the Biellas are listening to this, do not get upset. I joked in my own mind. I didn't really say it to anybody. But some of that is, Travis slide chopping him, kind of a statement move in the old office on Monday morning when you get there. Like, you let it. I got you.
As you say, this is you talking.
This is me talking.
And you guys always say this, that the passing is in the turns. And you'll see Travis go into 3, just never out of control, but just hard. And it looks like he's just going in so fast.
Yeah, you're going to hop off the top.
And he can just stick it. He just
stick it. Yeah.
Boy, I got something for you here. I
can.
just so happened to cut that.
And I believe that is his 8th
Trying to figure something out.
modified
He's liking
champion.
high-low.
Champion.
Can't quite reel him in yet.
Just so
But
happened
here
to
comes
cut
lap
this
traffic
in
video
Williston.
going into
I
the
sent
middle
this
of
highlight
the
to
middle
just
ground.
an
IMC.
Now here comes the interesting part. Brady Biella has lap traffic. The dark horse right on his bumper looking to get around.
And it doesn't seem like he's been doing it that long.
Here's the lap traffic. They go in there. Trav kind of gets squeezed out a little bit. You see it building right now. Mia's running the camera. This camera operator is me. I see it
See,
building.
look at that. Is that just like no lift? It's like, here we come,
Just
buddy.
keeps it leaned out.
And still gets the momentum down the straightaway to kind of block that slider move from Brady if Brady wanted to try it.
That puts the little signature gap there.
Yep.
And here we go. And still watching that lap car at all times too. So you got to work that. So
I cut this and sent it to IMCA TV for a highlight of the week, just because.
a true artist in his canvas right
Yep.
there. So
Yeah, congrats, Travis Hagen.
yeah.
Had a situation towards the end of that modified race.
Can I just lead up
Yep.
to that just a little bit? Williston. Strange things are happening in Williston. All the way going back to a few weeks ago when they started packing the track going backwards. Odd. Packing it going backwards. Halftime, you guys are auctioning off hoods, fenders, stuff like that. Dalton Flory auctions off his hood, right?
Yeah.
Number 20 sells for $2,000. 20, $2,000. Weird.
Look at this guy.
Travis Hagen, his door panel sells for $1,400. $1,400. Weird. Anyway, that last week, drive shaft dink into the front of your car.
Yeah.
Weird. Going into 3. All right, I'm setting you up for another weird
Setting
event.
it up, going into turn
Going
3.
into 3.
Voodoo witchcraft in Williston going on.
Had an incident where actually the studs broke, is what I'm understanding. The wheel,
Yes, the wheel studs broke off.
which sent the wheel away from the car.
Yes.
Wheel and
Yes.
tire together out from the left rear of Brady Biella.
I at first thought maybe the lug nuts had come loose and then broke them off. But in talking with Wayne afterwards, Wayne had similar troubles, and it was a particular brand hub on this quick change rear end that didn't mate with a particular brand wheel, is what he found. So I'm not sure if this is what Brady had going on, but I guess what I'm saying, I'm certain they were tight. They might not have mated right.
Just so everybody, if you're watching this right now, if you're listening on Spotify, I apologize. We have a video that's going to play on the screen. We're going to talk through this video. A lot happened in this wreck. And first off, I'm not showing this to get any attention. We just want to bring to light how dangerous racing can be. And our thoughts and prayers are with the Sorensen family, because somebody ultimately got hauled away in an ambulance in this deal.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we feel like we're invincible when we strap into a race car, and we feel like we're Superman, but we're really not. We're human beings.
And 40 years of racing, you've never seen the drive shaft situation. 40 years of racing, this wheel is up 30 feet in the air.
It just continues with energy in all directions. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
So we don't have Brady Biella on the screen. He's actually to the left in front of Jake Nelson and Justin Medler, who are side by side. So we'll play this along here. Oh, we're going to go backwards first.
Brady's in second at this point.
Yep. I kind of started it at the wrong spot. So we're going to go slow-mo forward. Brady's in second.
Which is right there.
So now you see Brady spinning out. Right above Brady's car is the left rear wheel. If
The
you
little
look
shiny
straight
dot.
up from his nose is the left rear wheel. The little silver piece in front of Justin Medler, that is the inner mud plug. Would we call it that?
Yes. It's an aluminum upside-down cake-looking thing that goes on over your wheel studs to keep the mud from building up in the left rear as we drag through the corners and fill up that left rear wheel.
Is that a concern for Justin at that point?
I'm going to say kind of the weight of an air cleaner base. So not so much. I mean, he's going to see it, but he's going to be happy it's not heavy.
Right.
But he's seeing the tire too, probably the wheel.
He's probably seeing that over here also.
Which is a concern.
That is a concern. A wheel tire assembly's got to be 40 pounds.
40, 50 pounds.
20-pound tire,
Yeah.
20-pound, 19-pound wheel.
And she's in action.
It's going.
And it's got a 70-mile-an-hour spin to it.
So now to follow this along, we move it ahead a couple frames.
Mm-hmm.
That wheel is now up at the top of the racetrack, straight above Brady's car, right underneath the light.
And if
In
she
the
goes
light.
Not up
No,
there.
no. Right there. Okay.
Right
I'm sorry,
halfway,
right here. Okay.
halfway between the light and Brady's car.
and if it goes over the fence, oh well, we're good.
Oh, well, it's going to go fishing
Yeah.
if it goes over the fence.
Yeah.
But this thing,
Hits-
right there, it bounced off the top row of the guardrail, and now it's coming back. Now it's
coming back in play.
It's basically straight above Brady's car again, right a few inches, or in this case would be a few feet, above the catch fence. Smalls Medler is clearing. Everybody else is diving for cover.
Yeah. Between Brady's spin and everybody starting to check up, and those that have seen the wheel in motion are wondering where it's at.
Yep, they've seen
So
it.
this group right here is tense.
And you
So-
don't even see some cars yet coming in. Everybody is racing full speed. There isn't even enough time, and this is not a rip on any official. Please do not take this. This happened so fast, the yellow light still isn't on, or is not on at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
This-
You can't move this quick.
This video looks like bang, bang, or this video looks like there's seconds in between
Yeah.
when the wheel comes off. I'm talking not
The
even.
whole thing's a second.
The whole thing is a second.
Yeah. That's what I think. Yeah.
So the wheel is still up above there. It bounced pretty high in the air.
It kind of ice cream scoops up and it's
Yep.
coming back in.
Coming back.
like a wave.
But she comes down fast now.
Yep, and now you're seeing, here's where some of the carnage is happening. You're seeing Marcus Tomlinson up on the left rear of Bohannon. You know, Tyler
They're
Jeffries
trying to
sideways.
get around Brady that
Yep.
is now getting ready to stop.
Yep,
So
I'm playing it off of darntv.com, so we're going to see
Okay.
this a few times. We're trying to, Nick and I actually on Darn TV are talking through this wreck right now as well. So we're going to go back to the beginning. And you see it happening here again. We're talking about the tire.
yeah.
Keep going, Nick. There we go. I'm talking to him, and he isn't even here. There it bounces off. It comes up in the air. It's up by the light. Now, everybody's dodging for cover. Here comes
Right. Yeah.
Sorensen right there is going to come in right there, hit the left rear. But now, where did that tire –
Where did it hit Donovan's car?
did it hit Donovan's car?
Well, it stops.
It's so weird.
It's
'cause
kind of
right
a
there,
glancing blow, I guess. It kind of looks like it tinked it.
so hard to tell if it does or does not hit Donovan's car.
Mm-hmm.
But Donovan comes in with a full head of steam because he's racing a race car.
Yeah.
And there, the yellow light should be on by this point. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I didn't see it flash yet. Still, we are talking mere seconds.
Yeah.
There is no-
1001.
I
The whole thing.
guarantee you, Bruce Rudlin is saying caution over the receiver at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He says it way faster than we get the light on.
Yeah.
So there is no ripping either of them two officials, either Jeff or Bruce, at this point in
Yeah.
time, because this all happened.
This has
bang,
nothing to do
bang,
with officialing at all.
Bang, bang.
It's just playing out an event
So
at
as
this point.
Sorensen comes in, hits the left rear, spins around backwards.
Tire actually looks like it comes off of Eddie Turnbull pretty hard there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie gets out of there without any personal harm, but it did look like it come off his car pretty good.
At that point, The race is red flagged. You're seeing a view of it from Darn TV.
Some eeriness in the air. I mean, we hear the ambulance coming.
Yep.
I'm standing with Adam, and we're like, huh.
You know, you're talking about how the officials handled it. I thought Williston Speedway handled it very well, calling the race with the 3 to go and making sure Donovan was...
With everything going on, they communicated what they could communicate, what they knew. What we were told was Donovan, I've heard other rumors since that night, but we were told up in the booth that Donovan was unresponsive or not awake. Unconscious.
Yeah.
When the officials got to him, but he quickly responded. They were able to communicate with him. And then from that point forward, they were going to take him in the ambulance to the hospital for precautionary measures.
Yeah.
We did not say that he was unconscious on air. All we said was he's there, or the officials are there. He's talking to them. They're going to take him in for precautionary measures. Because at that time, there were so many things floating around, we didn't know what to say. I went down, and I knew Nick was by himself on the air because Chris Morgan had went down to do the victory lane stuff. And I'm like, I could hear Nick was kind of pausing and stuttering a little bit, like unsure what to say or do. I tried to go down and just lend a hand from my years of running a racetrack, years of racing. And
well, Nick said, thoughts and prayers,
Yep.
He handled it as a gentleman he is.
Fortunately, in racing, these events are very far apart.
Yep.
But when they do happen, it's a lump in your soul, if you will. I mean, it's a lump in your chest that is just like, man. I mean,
what's interesting?
You're kind of evaluating everything in your life, in your world, in your surroundings, and again, all seems to be going the right way. Everybody's okay. Everybody's alive. Everything. Nobody's broken up. So. But nonetheless, just for a little bit there, you kind of stop and look around like, well, what are we doing? I mean,
you look at
the value of everything.
You watch racing, and you see Ed Turnbull roll the car, which looks certainly more violent than what this looked like, and he drives off, and you call it good. And then you're watching this, and then something's affected, and you're right. You're like, wow, you try and judge how things should be, and
sometimes. Yeah, I think to pick up on what you're saying, sometimes a lesser looking crash, if you will, might carry a lot of physical impact to the driver. Where sometimes we see violent rolls that really the driver's not harmed at all. Where maybe a sudden stop that didn't look all that bad was really bad.
Good explanation. Yes.
Had a concussion or something because of the sudden stop.
And we are so far away, all the way over into turn 3 and the sliding and all the cars. You don't see exactly what's going on. Obviously, probably looked a lot different in the cockpit.
Yeah. With the cars starting to, trying to react to the tire moving around and Brady going around. Somebody going around, that's expected, but where is this tire? Yeah, it's above you somewhere, and they're wondering where that's at too. So, in the modified, the roll cage comes up, the four areas come up, and they got a round deal on top of them. They got to have one diagonal bar in there, and it's not stated how it has to be in there. It's just that one has to be in there. And I've watched that video a few times, and there's times I think that tire's come down and hit his roof. If it didn't or did, isn't as important as the message here is that in a modified, I want to make sure that diagonal bar is something that can take a hit on the roof, whether the car be laying on its side and a car coming into it or something in the air. In this case, a tire coming up, and when it comes back down, I want to make sure I have some kind of protection.
Is there a lot of clearance between your
Well, for some cars there is not, and I'll go on record. I move my seat up as far as I can just to see well, but there's a price for that I get up into the cage. Well, I'm not above the cage by any stretch, but some guys might have a 4 or 5 inch gap there. And then some of us might only have an inch or two.
So if that tire did come down, it possibly could have contacted him on his helmet.
Yeah, because the roofs are only fiberglass or tin. They're not strong enough for anything. So
and we don't know if it hit him or not.
I've seen
a video from another angle that it looks like it did not hit him, But I've went back and watched this one here, and it looks like it changes.
Yeah, it almost looks like it glances it at least. At first, I thought it hit the rear deck maybe and bounced back up, but the more I watch it, the more unsure I'm getting. But beyond this particular incident, and IMC has done a wonderful job at staying on top of safety. I don't think there's an association more involved in the safety and welfare of the drivers. But the message here is that no matter what, it's still dangerous and something can still happen. I mean, maybe we need 2 diagonals on that roof. Maybe at my house there's 2 diagonals.
Well, maybe
on the
this
roof.
incident changes
So,
the rule.
I'm not sure. So, one thing about getting older, if you're older and still doing this, you have lucked out on a lot of these instances. So
There haven't been many wheel tire combinations going 30 feet in the air and dropping on a guy.
Right.
So that's going to probably make people look at it a little differently.
And there's really no way to tether that either. So
this is the other video from the other angle that was sent to me. Now we might have
from the pit grandstand.
Yeah,
here.
from the pit grandstands. Video is courtesy of Jeff Bieber.
Okay.
He sent it to me just to kind of hopefully shed some more light or clarity.
Offer another view.
Yeah, I haven't edited this in any way. This is straight from what he sent me, so you might have to watch just a few
There's a
laps
lot
here.
of mods out there.
Yeah.
And moving right along.
Yep.
As you can see, the track's getting a little bit higher. There's moisture up there. Yeah. When there's a high curb, you can really get around there. So.
There's about a minute left in the video here. Well, it must happen this corner. Not a minute left. There's about 20 seconds left in it. So it must happen right here. Here you see Jake, and these guys are side by side. So
There it is.
Yeah.
So you see, I haven't seen the wheel come into the screen yet. Sorensen is straight in the middle right ahead of Ed Turnbull.
Right
Yep.
here.
Nose is facing right at the camera.
Backed in.
So here comes the wheel. Now you see the wheel, you kind of lose it. It looks like it hits the racetrack. Right
down there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I can go back. Watch it hit kind of right. You're seeing it at the top left of the screen right now.
Yep.
Way up high there.
Way up high there.
It's getting ice cream scooped back.
Yep. And it's going to come down, and it looks like it hits the ground right behind.
It almost does there, yeah.
Yeah, it does look like it hits the track, which
It
is
looks like it
comforting.
hits the
Yeah.
track.
So then it must not have hit his car, or hit on the roof anyway, what I
Yeah.
was fearful of.
Boy, and that other one there,
It's
I
hard
almost
to-
think
it's hard
that
to
it
see.
glances the roof. So, but yeah.
And then it looks like it almost hits Eddie, and it almost hits Jeff Bieber, but then it goes down to the bottom. So thank you, Jeff Bieber,
Yeah.
for sending that video in. I forgot that he sent it in. I should have loaded that in right away so we had another look. But we
That
got
was
we
a
got
good
to
look.
it. We got to it.
So a little bit of a damper there that was what it was. The upside is nobody's busted up or worse. So
Yeah, I haven't heard an official
personally,
update
so
on it. They said to pay attention to social media. I checked social media before we came on. I didn't see an update on there on Donovan's page. But if it was
not good news.
if it was not good news, I believe we would have
heard it.
heard by now.
That's where
So,
I'm at on it. So I have no doubt he's sore. Yeah. So, but
thoughts and prayers with the Sorensen family.
heal fast. We'll
Come on out
live
to a
race
racetrack
another day.
again. Yep. Yep. In the sport that we love, racing.
Yeah.
When something like that happens, it humbles you in a hurry,
It does.
and you realize. I said it before. We're not invincible. We're not Supermen.
Yeah.
We feel like we can take on the world when we're driving that race car.
It's just so easy to get passive about it.
Yep.
And
Complacent.
complacent. Yeah. Yeah. You don't know how fast you're going until something happens.
Yep.
You're like, whoa, that stuff was moving
Williston,
right along.
there was
So,
only 2 or 3 laps left in the race.
yeah.
Williston chose to just call the race at that point. Great
Yeah.
call. Let's.
I
just,
thought it was a great call. There wasn't anything left to prove on the racetrack that I could tell.
And everyone's thoughts are with Donovan.
Yeah.
The air is kind of released out of the room, and
Yeah.
just
And Travis Hagen, a great interview, explaining to the crowd that, he went to school with Donovan, so he's, it's tough to do an interview. thinking about Donovan, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, always the human side of Travis.
Right.
I love it. So, yes.
Now we move to Sunday.
Sunday fun day.
Hobby stocks. Kyler Sachin, 3-point advantage over Caden Appel coming in. Statement made early with Kyler. This is what I love to see. Kyler took his previous 2 nights of going for a championship, and he harnessed that, and he knew exactly what he had to do. He got to the front before Caden did, and he put himself in a position that even if Caden were to pass him and win the race,
the spread was on his side.
The spread was on his side.
Again, 1 point per car.
1 point per car, 3 points ahead. Kyler was in second real quick. By lap 2 or 3, he was in second.
And at that point right there, it was secured.
Yep.
But even with Caden, had everything still stayed the same, 3 points, 40 for first, 37 for fourth.
Yep.
So just to kind of keep that 3-point thing in check there. That would have been a tie.
And Caden would have had the tiebreaker
because of the feature wins.
Yes.
So he needed third to secure it.
Yep. So Kyler got up to second. Caden was able to clear him, and then they were both able to clear, I believe, Twite.
Okay, Alex. Okay.
Alex Twite. So then they ended up first and second, 1 point. Kyler Sachin, the first 3-time champion of the weekend, because he won Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we beg the question, has anybody ever done that before? Estevan, Williston, Minot championships all in the same weekend. I don't have that answer.
Yeah. In the same
weekend.
Well,
in the same year.
Yeah.
In the same year, nonetheless.
Yeah. Again, impressive.
I know there's a little brother of mine out there that's kicking me right now, and as he's listening to this, because in 2013 he won Minot, he won Williston. Some jack wagon big brother took Estevan. And I only got him by 2 or 3 up there, so he almost beat me up there too.
Not to steer the attention away from the things at hand.
But this is what Kyler.
There's less than 10 guys in IMCA history that have ever won 4 in 1 year. And
You're one of them.
And I'm number 7
Perfect.
on that list. So, yes.
So Kyler's super close to 4 because he was right in the Underwood battle too.
Yes. Yeah, he ran 4 tracks. He won 3 of them.
So when you're driving home from Williston, you got your championship belt. What are you feeling?
Relief. Relief. What am I feeling? It's nice at this age to still be able to last all year long on that deal there. I'm gonna share a stat on the stock car guys. Of the 4 tracks that we entertain, Will won Underwood, Adam won Minot, and I won Williston. We all have won multiple features, but none of us won features at our championship tracks.
Wow.
That's a weird fact, huh?
Yeah.
So that's just how competitive they are. So with that company in mind, everything felt good. It felt a little short that I didn't win a feature there at a high of a second. But as I shared, the fast guys had a bad night early in the year. So that kept them in front all year long, if you will. And with their rainouts and stuff like that, we could just never get the rotation down.
Yep.
So I kind of earned it by just kind of, if you will, going to school and having perfect attendance in my own weird way. But I've won some that way, and I've certainly lost plenty that way.
That's kind of why we saw Travis win Estevan.
Yep.
In his own weird way. I mean, he did still get a feature, but they came late. But he had the attendance to back that up, where Estevan had a bad motor night. And
Cody, I think, had 1 DNF night.
Yeah, and 1 DNF night, you don't want to wish misfortune on anybody, but if you have a bad night, all your competition has to have one too to keep you all relevant. And I escaped that in Williston. I won 2 features in Underwood, and that was my worst points finish of my 4 tracks. So it was feast or famine. So
Caden Appel one night had a DNF.
Yeah, and that was he dominated the features.
He won every feature, but that
won, and it cost him the championship.
Yep.
So So championships are based on just consistent.
Is this
consistency.
second year in a row he's runner-up?
Yeah.
Did you hear what I asked him in Victory Lane? What did I ask him? These championships are tough. Are we going to see you back here next year to get one? I will, but in a different car. What was he meaning?
Oh.
What was he meaning?
Well, I imagine he wants to go to stock cars.
Uh-huh.
He kind of left it wide open. Is he getting a different hobby stock, or is he getting a stock car? Is he getting a modified, a sport mod, or is he going to come out in a legend? I don't know.
Huh. Well, will he be there this weekend?
Yes, I believe he will be there this weekend.
Well, we better check in. so we better check in.
Sport mod Gabe Deshaw had a 9-point lead over Brock. Beat her.
And Gabe as well, hot coming out of the gate. And you kind of didn't talk a whole lot about him middle of the season.
I think we're saying that because if you think about it, Gabe didn't really race Williston or Estevan. He was up there at the beginning of the year. And then he didn't race Estevan. He missed a night because he was going to Botno.
Yeah.
So Gabe, with the rainouts in Minot, technically the sport mods, the stock cars, and the modifieds, they had not raced since July 4th.
Yeah.
A points night since July 4th.
We talked about 7 weeks going into the next race, yeah.
So we're not talking about Gabe.
Because we're not racing.
Because we're not racing. And we're not talking about even Brock. We never even spoke Brock's name at all on this show, other than maybe a little tidbits here and there of what he's doing just because he's my brother and I know what he's doing. Mm-hmm. But we haven't talked about these guys hardly at all.
Right.
And Gabe went out with a statement, drove to the front, and picked up the feature win. Now, Brock, on the other hand, he was part of the carnage. That race was a marathon. It had...
That's what it was. It was Taylor Stenvold.
Yep.
And he was leading the herd, and he dumped it in front of the field.
I think his left front actually caught the inside wall.
Yeah.
And he came out of that unscathed, spinning in front of the field with, like what you're saying, with all the damage, and he went straight to the pits, and I'm sure he was like, that was an act of God that he didn't get any damage.
His car came unscathed, but if I could go back, I wish I had a picture of Darren Medler's sail panel, because it sliced Darren Medler's sail panel right in half.
Wow.
When it spun around, it sliced the sail panel completely
Something
in
caught
half.
it and can opened them right down the middle, huh?
Right down the middle of the sail panel.
Chad Strachan, he was driving that night too. The sparks were flying off his rotors going to the turns, and he drives like you. He drives like Travis, clean and smooth, and his back right sail panel is just all jacked up.
You had
He's got some carnage, huh?
Chad Strachan, Brock's whole body. That Brock, I mean, this is just him because I know what he does in the shop. They built a whole new deck, and they had new door panels and quarters, and they said in the shop, we're going to run the old stuff for championship night, and that way, whatever, we'll put the new stuff on to go to Boone. They wrecked the deck. The deck they just put on, they had to build a new deck this week to put on to go to Boone again. It was pretty tore up.
But he wheeled that thing from the back to third.
I think we've seen a lot of like Chris Hortness aggression in him. He wasn't super happy with it's one of them. I'm gonna use a term, and people are gonna get mad at me. You use it on the modifieds with the J bar and the Panhard bar, artificial
traction.
The beginning of that feature race, they went out and watered the bottom, or they went out and watered it a little bit. The beginning of that feature race had a lot of, I'm gonna call it artificial talent.
Oh boy.
It made it, and I'm not doing it in a bad. Guys that are inexperienced, they went out there and they were able to hold their car to the floor and get all the grip they needed to be fast. Mm-hmm. When that grip started to go away, when the track started to burn off a little bit and you had to move your car around a little bit, some of the guys weren't able to hold their car in a similar fashion as they were at the beginning part of the race.
They didn't have the control that they had in the beginning.
They did not have the control. And maybe, like I said, beat me up, hold me, put a bag over my head, kick the crap out of me. I don't care. I'm going to say it as it is. Artificial talent was in the racetrack.
Well, that's what we say about these inverted starts.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
So we want them to go away sooner, not later.
And because with 11 laps,
no insults to anyone.
no insult. With 11 laps to go, you had the top 6 were guys that had never won a feature race, or if they had, it'd been a long time since they won one. And then you had in 7th was Gabe, and then Brock, and then Darren, and then Chad. Not in that order, but
next bunch.
You had the next bunch, and that was at a caution with 11 laps to go. And from that point forward is when kind of the Chad got his doors all tore up, Brock got his stuff, and it was simple stuff. Like cars would go in the corner, kick sideways, and Brock or Chad or Darren, you would have nowhere to go. You know, they'd drive it in like
They're
they
starting
did.
to come around, and there's nowhere to go.
There's nowhere to go.
You got to go into them.
You straighten them out. You
straighten them out.
You straighten them out, and unfortunately, you're using the right side of your car to straighten them out.
Yeah.
You know,
I
because
suffered that myself.
They tried to set the car in the corner the same as they did on lap 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Well, on lap 10 or 11 or 12,
it got icy.
All right, I'm gonna play with what you're saying. We know that the Sport Mods is entry-level mod.
Correct.
So they don't have the talents of Aaron
I'm not saying they
Turnbull.
don't have the talent.
Experience.
Experience.
But what I will say to that is the Sport Mods Estevan feature.
Yep.
Full moons in Nodak, and things get a little dicey. And you get through that, and then the A mods come out, and they go bell to bell. You know.
Yep.
So there is experience and talent in that next step, and
difference.
Did the A mods go bell to bell too? We forgot to mention the hobby stocks went green to checkered as well. Green to checkered, no cautions. Good job, hobby stock guys.
Yeah.
Which that earns you a free pit pass Friday night, I think. I might have spoke out of turn. If did the mods go green to checkered too?
If they didn't, it was
they wouldn't
close.
They wouldn't qualify because I think you have to have 14 cars or more.
I'm sure Marcus would have wanted it to go to bell if it didn't.
Maybe it did go bell to bell, but you didn't.
Yeah.
There's a stipulation in that deal that you have to have so many cars, and I think mods fell below that. I only have 11 cars here, so
they did only have 11. Yeah.
And especially with only 11, I got to believe they went bell to bell because.
But Gabe Deshaw, great season by Gabe.
Yeah, strong.
Champion
strong
at the Nodak
too.
Speedway. Strong in the stock car. We can talk about him when we get to the stock car feature a little bit.
Yep.
Because I thought he had a chance to win both.
I did too. Yep.
So
a fella in the Sport Mod that I'm really liking watching lately is Lance Lochdow, and he is
getting
son
better.
of
getting
John.
Better.
Yes, in McLean County.
Yes.
Was leading the feature, and I think turn 2 got him. But and then he led a lot here in Minot, former hooker car.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
But
it is. Yeah.
Harris car, isn't it? Is it the Harris or the Taylor? Harris.
I'm not sure. I thought I was going to say the Harris, but I got Taylor in there too, so I'm going to say Harris.
But it just makes you want more for next year. You just can see the talent coming up and getting better. And
we have 3 more nights this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lance was having a nice run too. Yes.
Super nice.
Yeah, like it. Yeah, Gabe did all he could do. I know there's some questions whether he was going to make it back or not, and again, everybody wants a championship till you can't. So, and he proved me right again. so yeah.
Because of the
Good job,
contact, it was a little bit of drama in the middle there because of the contact. I think with 8 or 9 laps to go, Brock's hood folded up, had to go to the pits, get the hood removed because it was folded back so he couldn't see. So had to start tail end and drove all the way back up to third.
Yeah,
third. So he was on a mission to make
a lot of cars, 3 heats. What was there? 26 cars. I think.
Yeah, 26 cars.
Oof. That's championship stuff there.
And as the race went on, the track got wider.
So dovetailing off of the hot sauce topic of last week, Stu, get out there, rip that hood off.
Pocket full of rubber bands. Let's do something. Strap it down. Yeah. There's something there. Let's not let that get away this winter. So
we won't. We'll have a full show dedicated to it because we got Boone coming up next week, and I'm going to make sure.
Should be fresh.
I'm going to write down what time's the day that they use the bungee straps and the ratchet straps, so I can go back and collect that video, and we can put it on our show this winter.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Stock cars, Adam Goff.
Stock cars.
4-point lead over Will.
4-point over Will.
8 over you.
Yeah.
Which Adam would have had to DNF. Will would have had to almost DNF.
Yeah, and I'd have had to win.
And you'd have had to win.
That was 3 perfect full moons that couldn't be at one time. So, nonetheless, a great points race with Will and Adam on a track that was just we were flat getting around.
You guys were moving,
and we were inverted.
Yeah.
So,
the thing that stuck out to me was Will stayed on the bottom.
Yeah.
And he didn't give up on the bottom. Brendan Labatt kind of moved up. You moved up. The whole field at one point.
On that restart, we went up thinking there was something there, and it felt like there was something there.
Oh, there was something there.
There was, we had little wheelies going on, so there must have been something there.
That's the problem of having the neon green, because you were the first one to do it, and it was working, and you can't help but see that neon green, and it's moving. And
yeah, it was exciting. Again, your comment, Will stayed on the bottom. Will started, let's see, he started 2 rows behind me, and I started 5th, so he was 7th, 9th. He started 9th, and Will, as a guy second place in points, did everything that you could possibly do. He won the feature. That's all he can do. And he done it, and he had to come through Adam and I to get there, and he did it.
Yep.
And he did it. He did it easily with me. I can't remember exactly what the race was with Adam. But, I mean, again, everybody's getting around pretty good on this thing. And, it took the entire race to get there. When the dust settled, Will had won the feature. Adam had gotten second in the feature,
yep,
which secured Adam's championship.
Yep.
And congratulations to our friend Adam.
Yep.
That was awesome.
Well deserved.
And it'd been a long weekend for him too. Everybody was relieved. But again, kudos to Will. I think somebody said he had won 4 features this year. I mean, wow. So that's awesome. Last year's, he was the defending champion from the year before, and I think he had some early troubles on the first night of racing or something like that there that he just wasn't able to make up, similar to Steven's case in Estevan. Nonetheless, again,
I think he had
cars
a DNF the first night out.
Yeah, there was something on the first.
No, he won on May 14th, and then May 21st he had a 29. So I'm guessing that's a DNF.
Okay, that'd have been a 12. So yeah, I must have didn't finish that night. So he chased that bad finish for the whole year.
2 in a row.
Oh.
2 12ths in a row, 2 DNFs in a row. May
So,
21st and June 4th.
And he brought that down to a 3-point loss. So, again,
But he finished
force
the year
to be reckoned.
3 straight wins.
Wow. Well, we know what that running average is first.
But
so
in order to get them 3 straight wins, he had to win in 3 different months. How
Wow,
crazy is that?
yeah,
You're all about numbers and stats.
Yeah.
He ended the year with 3 straight points wins. Now we're talking points nights.
So he won the end of June.
He won
the
June
4th of July.
and
And when we come back, well, see, those are fun. Fun facts. Yeah, well, with that said, he never weathered from being good. So, again, a great competitor, a very nice guy, a very nice family, people around him. They're excited about racing. Will and Bailey are going to get married here this month, here soon. What a way to go to the wedding.
Is it over a race weekend?
Well, I'm sure it is. So I don't know what day it is right off. I'm sorry, Will. But last year, Will had called his season of racing at the last points race in Minot. He didn't race anymore after that. So so with that said, I think he'll do that again because I think the wedding's in a couple weeks. I think so.
I thought it was something to do with hunting.
Last year he said, "I'm ready to go hunting, bow hunting." So this year he's got to go get married. So that will take a little bit more time. I read into that this Sunday night was the end of him for the year, and I read into that being because that's what he did last year.
Right.
So. And then I want to go on record calling him possibly the smartest racer I know. Again, sometimes these year-end deals get the best of you, and he stays out of that trouble. So, nonetheless, a great competitor, a friend. I want to give him a congrats on going forward and getting married, and the happy life and marriage that he'll have going forward. Again, love his family.
Yep.
I enjoy
Congrats.
him as a racer and a friend, and you did all you can do. Is there a flashback for me of 2002? I won the feature, but I was too many points short of the championship.
You know, Will
him had the most feature wins, didn't get the championship. So
Will and Adam both. You know, when you think of them as competitors racing on the track, they're never driving off the track with a big wrecked race car. They're always running a clean line.
Yeah.
They're not putting their fenders on someone else.
Yeah.
And probably not ones that you're going to see riding the rim. They've got their line, and they do it, and they do it great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good point. I mean, you know, if there's anything to be gathered from this weekend of championship chases, is that a lot of the champions do have cars that rarely ever suffer damage. Travis Hagen rarely suffers damage. Kyler really doesn't suffer damage. So there's a message. Rarely in an incident.
Gabe Deshaw. He's one of the cars that came out of that feature without any damage.
Without a scratch on it. So
without a scratch.
Well, maybe there's a message here.
Get to the front quick.
as I'd say, drive with a glass bumper and don't break it.
Modifieds, Travis Hagen, because of the car count being 11, had a 15-point lead going into it. He was 15-16 all 3 tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Green flag in the heat race wrapped up the championship.
Secured it so he could
go out and race.
He could breathe and race.
Yep. He could go out and race.
And he did. Again. So
Marcus got out front and was running like a champ out front.
We want our friend Marcus to get there.
Yes.
Oh.
It took a few laps for Travis to figure out what lane or what line to run up high. He was the first mod to kind of go up there. And once he figured out that diamond, not a full diamond. It's kind of like that one I talked about in Estevan. You're not diamonding all the way down to the bottom of the track. You're going in up high, and you're keeping yourself
staying on the bank.
Staying on the bank. You're running down about halfway down the track.
All right, let's slow down here. Back to he's driving a Rage, an older Rage. So he doesn't got the advantage of the chassis. I believe he's running a crate, just like everyone else, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like what you were talking about when you were in Estevan coming out of 2 and getting these lines, these momentums, because that's what you see with Travis is he goes in differently and can come out so fast. But normally when you dive in like that, you give it all up on the exit of the turn, but he doesn't.
Where most would get a four-wheel skate and lose all that energy that they
and the guy can cross over and get it back.
Yeah.
So he's got physics figured out. It isn't a horsepower deal. It isn't a horsepower for you when you're coming out of 2. They're turning, and you're just on the gas sooner than everyone else.
Did Jordan say this? You said Jordan said this, or Jordan said it earlier. You're going to win your races in the corners. Keeping corner speed.
Ground speed.
Keeping corner speed, ground speed makes it look like you have 20 more horsepower going down the straightaway.
Yeah. And it's free traction.
Free speed or free traction.
Yeah.
So if you can run a faster corner, if you can have more speed in the corner than the other guys, it's only going to make you faster down the straightaways because you're carrying more speed.
Whether it be at the actual car setup or you as a driver being able to adapt to the car setup. Finding that spot where you can get a bunch of the corner, but then try to use the rest of your energy, Craig, as you're describing, as trying to keep it straight. And so it isn't resistant to the turn. So it isn't losing any speed to the turn of the wheels or the slide of the rear end. All that energy is going forward, not sideways. So
you know that they talked about
describe that.
Dale Earnhardt Sr. at Daytona and Talladega where he could see the air. You know, where it's just next level stuff that some other people got to learn or never can learn.
And Travis has got a great subconscious of it. That's what you're describing. I mean, his subconsciousness of keeping the car from pulling it down. In two-barrel racing and stock cars, if we back it in too hard, it'll slow right down because the motor can't pull itself through the sliding. So you want to always keep our term is keep the car underneath you. Keep it underneath you and keep it light on its wheels, if you will. So it's always rolling forward and not burning any energy sideways or the energy of tailing it out and losing all that energy and power to propel you.
It's so
forward.
interesting because, you know, you look at his daddy, Mad Mike. He drives that thing like an absolute horse.
Well, yeah, in fun, Mike has said, it's hard to believe he's mine sometimes. So,
but
I love Travis's racing.
Give Mike some
I'm
props.
going to claim him if Mike ever has a moment.
Mike's on a hot streak. He's got his
Mike
hot
is
rod.
on a hot streak. Mike's a ferocious racer, and yes, yeah. Mike did a good job in Williston there, and yeah.
Sport Compacts.
Sport Compacts.
Kind of some drama in this one. Did you pay attention to this or not?
A little bit on the headset for me, or Ray Seaver.
3-point lead for Alex Thompson over Chris Yost. Okay? A little bit of was it on the first lap or the second lap of the feature? Coming around on the front straightaway, I believe there was a spin out. Yeah. First lap, James Gilbert slides off at 3 and 4. The caution is not out yet because the field is still on the front straightaway. So there's no point in throwing a yellow. Let's see if Gilbert gets going.
Can gather it up.
Well, meanwhile, as the cars come out of turn 4, there's a little bit of wrecking going on the front straightaway. Thompson gets hit, loses the front bumper. Or the front bumper cover, and the front bumper falls off, or it's only hanging on by a thread. And back to last week's hot sauce topic.
How much is too much? Who's responsible?
Who's responsible? Well, they ended up sending Thompson to the pits for an unsafe race car because of not having a bumper or a bumper hanging off or dragging.
Or a one-sided bumper.
Or a one-sided bumper. I'm not 100% sure what was with the bumper, but I believe he got sent to the pits because he did not have a safe race car.
We talk way too much because we get talking and it makes me think of things that we talked about previous. If I could go way back to our talk about when the green flag goes, when does the race start? Heat race, Sport Compacts. They drop the green and they spread, and they're going into 4 and they got this kind of storm going
into 1, you mean?
Yeah, and they're just so spread out, and that's when Lily took her tumble. I think you got that.
You're jumping ahead of me here.
I'm sorry, but it just seems like
we're talking about the championship, and then we'll go back to Lily.
Yeah,
Is that
we'll
okay?
go back to Lily.
I think that's what you're talking about too. Is how they do these restarts. I think sometimes breeds
I see what
a
you're
little
saying.
bit of chaos. If they were tighter,
especially in a division like the Compacts.
I will defend Bruce. He says, get tighter.
Yes.
Get tighter. He's always telling us.
In a division like the
tighter.
Compacts, I think the Compacts have the most gap between
of experience.
Of experience and car performance.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
So car performance, I believe there is some haves and have-nots in the car performance game, and it is a huge disparity between the two. So when you're starting row 3 and they throw that green flag, you're going out to this. You're going where they're not because your car accelerates faster than them guys.
Fair.
But if you're starting back end, you're tailing Charlie and you're leading by turn 1.
If them guys, and that's the other thing, you have some really, really, really inexperienced drivers on the front row because of the point invert thing. And if they're sleeping at the wheel, that soon as the flagman's hand goes up, it is green flag go time.
Right.
And if they're not paying attention on the front row, you're going to turn and go around them.
As clear as you just said that, and as clear as the three of us just heard that, I still believe that there's drivers that think that you don't get going until the flags stand. Or a facsimile of it going back to corner 4. Again, when the arm moves.
That arm moves.
And you're in the middle of 3 and 4. It's wide open racing time. Now, I know we understood what I just said, but not everybody delivers the way it was just said.
If you see my hand, if I'm the flagman and there's a green flag in my hand, as soon as it goes up here to the camera, as soon as it comes up, green flag.
Yeah. Because your next move is to come up and down, and I can't react. As fast as I can react, it will be timed perfectly with your up and down. Don't be swatting for mosquitoes if you're the flagman.
Yeah, don't be going like this.
Don't be swatting for mosquitoes because we're moving.
So I think what you're talking about here.
Well, because look at that. There's 6 wide at the flag stand.
We're going to cut to that right there.
Yeah.
So this is the initial start.
That is interesting.
Is that a good start?
Yeah.
This is the initial start of the heat race.
Is this 2 rows of 3 or 3 rows of 2? Okay.
I think this is what you're discussing. Now let's go back 10 seconds here. We still have the Nick has the lineup on here, and he's going to give him the green flag from this. So you're not going to see a good
going 6 wide into 1 is not going to come out well.
So exciting to watch.
As it plays along here, they're going to come into the screen. Here they are. There's the green flag, and they kind of get jumbled up. I can't tell you good, bad, or there's their 5 wide or 6 wide. And And there is the contact.
Oofta Wills.
See, now, the eye test, that's ugly.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, the eye test is. That's a bad one.
Yeah.
But as we learned, she suffered nothing and was able to come back for the feature.
And she's a young lady.
Yeah. In her own words, just make sure I'm back out for the feature.
I'm not even
Dad.
thinking we're talking 14 or
Drew.
She's same age as Max, I believe, at 15 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. I remember when she was born. Seemed like about 5 years ago.
And what was interesting, I think the engine's still running while it's on its side. That's what.
Wow.
Yeah, just
You're right, Jordan. So you're watching that, and I'm really fearful for her.
A young girl.
Right. And it turned out to be not a big deal. And I'm watching Williston thinking, it doesn't look like a bad deal. Turns out there's more danger there.
Yeah. Well, the sudden stop ones are concerning. Concussions and stuff like that. You reflected on Dale Earnhardt Sr., which seemed like not bad
it's
deal
hard to,
compared to a long rollout like this.
We have the graphic up on the screen,
It's
but
the
they're
sudden
already
stops.
green flag at that point. They're already
Yeah, in the background.
Jeff Barta has already thrown the green flag at that point. So the first two rows look like they're still 2x2 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Now the cars in the back, which would be the faster cars,
Yeah.
the Thompsons, the Zach Eubanks, even Brian Eubanks,
Yeah.
Kyle Eklund.
Alex. No.
Yep.
Or
They're
actually said him, yeah. Yeah,
then
they're.
when you switch to this view, when he switches cameras here,
Yeah, I mean, they're just honking around the outside. Yeah, Alex and Brian.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is quite the shot there. That's busy. That is
Great
busy.
job, Jenny, on the camera work.
Yeah, that is a great shot.
Lily walked away, came back out, and raced the feature race. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was adamant about making sure she could race the feature. Drew was filling me in as he was loading it up.
Well,
at the
he
end
is
of
a
the
body
night.
man, so it did look pretty good when
I
he came
teased
back
him.
out.
I said, she knows a good body shop, right? He goes, I quit. You can't yet. So, yeah.
See,
Yeah, glad everybody was okay on that.
now here's the
Again, it doesn't seem like things are really moving all that quick until they're not moving correctly. So
here's the start of the compact feature. I think this is the one. Now you'd question did them guys get out of line or not, but by that time the green flag is usually thrown.
See, they're six
wide
Yeah.
again. This class is going to lend you to that.
look at that. That is busy. Yeah, that's.
Don't you want to drive one
that's,
time, Jordan?
Well, yeah, I thought so.
Now here, Gilbert goes in, he slides over. There's no caution at this time because you as a flagman, me as a flagman, me as a race director, whoever it is.
You don't want to burn the drivers yellow.
Correct.
So you want to give them a fighting chance to hop back on, benefit off of somebody else's yellow.
Meanwhile, as our concentration is up there on the top of turn number 3 and 4, if you look at the cars coming out of the corner down here at the left side of your screen, you see one kind of crossed up there. And there's where the cross-up comes.
Uh-huh.
A little bit of contact, going to come back up. And there's where the bumper of the 16 is Thompson, Alex Thompson.
The red 16 is going to lose a bumper cover. And
Now,
bumper.
I can't tell. Now, it looks like to me, I'm not going to be able to rewind this enough. Let's go back here, and we're gonna go again, and I'm going to try to pause it at a better spot. I can't tell. I mean, we're analyzing this way too much, but
Car's in the way.
it looks like the bumper is hanging off there. Okay. That's the front bumper off
That's
the black
cover.
car.
Oh, okay.
Bumper
okay.
cover, but there is a bumper or something hanging off there on the 16. Oh, well. Unfortunately, he got disqualified from the race, which kind of killed the points. Chris Yost was able to take the feature win and the championship to become a Nodak Speedway champion.
First off, I'm going to say I know Chris has done the behind-the-scenes work on a bunch of these cars. If for no other reason, I've heard
his
it.
fingers in on
everybody's. So, but there's been no lack of involvement in the class and trying to grow it and stuff like that there. So, and he certainly has won many times, and he's went down to Mandan and won also. So, so again, I'm going to go on record as a strong congratulations to him for promoting the class, being the class. winning that feature and ultimately winning the championship. I hate to see it get played out on a technicality, but we were watching these rollovers and all these incidences. We can't run around with horns that don't have bumpers on them either. So that's going to spear somebody in the door, and that would be worse than letting them race. So hopefully we just make sure we keep those bumpers fastened on.
Look at that.
So
Bring in the video.
I
right
love that.
into
Yeah.
No, I do. Because I knew it was pretty busy on those restarts, but I didn't know it was 6 wide busy. After you see it, like,
yeah. And again, we're in the pits, so it's it's been a busy week trying to get ready for everything else here. So I haven't had time to do all my homework coming into tonight. I apologize for that. Nonetheless,
I turn it on the TV now at work. I moved to a different office at work, and they have a big screen TV on the wall in there. So when I do meetings and stuff, I can project my computer up there. So Monday
got a little
morning,
background noise and sights. If I had a TV at my job, I'd be cutting off water lines.
We can put an iPad up in the backhoe for you.
Yeah. Sorry, MDU. Oh, popular. Craig, you got a TV in your office at Marketplace?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You want
Well, when you get it, call me up so I can come over and watch with you. Oh, dang. All right.
So that wrapped up championship night at Nodak.
Watched a little bit of Dakota Speedway.
Friday night.
Yep, and I believe Mark Dahl got the championship down there.
I see that he got in third, so and he had a 6-point lead, so that would be Mark Dahl's, and strong congratulations from me. Mark and I go way back, and it's always a great day when Mark Dahl has a great day, and he had a great season. So.
He got the win, much like you talked about. Good attendance, good strong finishes, not breaking.
Yeah.
Didn't get a lot of wins. I'm not sure if
he had a win. We talked about the Governor's Cup area there, so didn't have the feature wins of Jeremy and Marlon, if you will, but nonetheless, the championship it only sees the highest average finisher, and that was Mark. So good.
Jeremy Keller. It seems like Cody Schlope up in Estevan knows that track really, really well. Travis in Williston. Jeremy has got that Dakota Speedway figured out. He's driving that J. McDonald car now, and he just looks so good.
Did I understand that was a new J. McDonald car?
Yes.
So,
and Marlon was trying to run him down, was running in second, again Mark in third, and going into 50 years of experience and every ounce of energy Marlon could muster up to get Jeremy. He went right up to his driver's door, and it went around. He ended up holding on to second, but he just could not get Jeremy for everything that he gave him.
Yeah, Marlon Seidler 3 wins, Jeremy Keller 4 wins. Mark Dahl had 1 win.
So.
But 9, I mean,
at
11,
least Mark had a win.
9
so
top
not all the
5s.
stock car guys did.
9 top 5s and 11 top 10s in 11 features. That's why he's a champion.
Yeah. Again, it's your the highest average guy out of the field. So, and like I said, some of the strong runners in Wilson just had breakdown nights, and I've had those at other tracks too. So, yeah, you just do your best everywhere, and hopefully something happens. And well, I was lucky to be one of them that had it happen. So.
Hunter Domagala, street stock champion.
Yeah.
I think
no surprise.
What did he win every night? I mean, he must have 6 or 7.
Yeah, and there's some good players.
Let's click
down
on
there,
it here.
So.
8 wins out of 11 features.
Yeah.
Jeff Hellman won 1. He got second in points. And then some guys way down the list won a couple, which is weird. But
I knew the Hellman was a good racer too. So
I raced against Jeff's brother, or not brother, dad. Then back when I was a rookie in the street stocks down in Mandan, in the Wissota Street days back in the late '90s, I raced against Jeff's dad.
What are you saying? I raced against his grandpa? No insults, guys. I just showing my age again.
Still talk to him quite a bit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, good racer. I've seen the name forever. So
again, Dakota Speedway signing off till their Oktoberfest. It just feels
weird.
It just feels too warm to be this over. So, like you say, we signed. You shared earlier, Craig. We sign off from Estevan until next May. That's a long time. The forecast this weekend is 95 degrees. It doesn't feel like it's time to quit racing. It feels like it's about halftime.
And it's one of them deals that these tracks are signing off for the year because it's
typically
it's the end of the year double headers now.
Yeah. You're
so
right.
you can't
right.
race on top of one another is what ultimately, I guess this weekend, maybe in the future, Brandon's mind is ting, 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 going around. Why can't we put on a little Labor Day weekend tour where we go Mandan Friday, Saturday Underwood, Sunday Minot. Boom, boom, boom. I got it all figured out. 2024. Here we go.
But that you guys also
take advantage of Monday, 4 days.
Yeah.
You guys also have talked about more doubleheaders, so you drivers don't have to use as much fuel, and you're staying in one spot.
Yeah, now we're putting a tour together.
Yeah, no, but I like it all.
Just to make sure we're beat into the ground all the way. Well, when racing's over, you need to be tired of it. So, yeah. Again, I touched on it. I thought really everybody got through championship weekend. Well, probably the only upset was the Chris and Adam deal, and at a 1 point deal, I don't know they call it an upset. Both got the utmost respect for each other. I think we all do with each other in Estevan for sure, and probably everywhere. But and after that, I mean, guys that were leading stuff, they protected it and got it done. So, and some of those are close. Kyler had some toughies. Kyler had a weekend of nail-biting 3, 4, 5 point stuff. And he got her done.
They made it through.
Congratulations. That, again, motorsports people aren't always considered to be athletic per se, but there was no lack of athletic judgment calls and moves done all weekend. It was good. So
and whenever
it was athletic.
Whenever when you accomplish something that Travis Hagen also accomplished, and your name gets to be right next to Travis Hagen's.
Yeah.
As a young man as Kyler is, 20 years old.
You're right.
His name forever, I will remember it forever, because anytime you can win 3 track championships, basically we're going to call it in the same weekend.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
Like Travis and Kyler did. You guys are in air all by yourself at this point.
It's the truth. I mean, it really is. It's the truth. So, like I say, there was people holding their breath for record amounts of time over the weekend trying to get it done. Yeah.
It wasn't even me in the race, and I was holding my breath. So
you was up in the camera stand. So
Estevan, I got to kind of just roam around. It was kind of fun. Upcoming schedule. Let's touch on that real quick. Let me get the old Texas Red.
Did they give me a tune-up?
They didn't.
No. Tassels on my corn in the garden. We got to get an update. Thanks, guys. We sure hope you're getting something from this investment you're putting in us. You're getting a little comedy hour, if nothing else. So
upcoming schedule is pretty simple.
Yeah.
Minot, Nodak.
Nodak, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
We looked around. We were just trying to see if anybody else in the state. Fargo races Friday. I guess we didn't look at Grand Forks. I never even thought about Grand Forks. Devil's Lake races Saturday, Sunday. Other than that, that's it.
Is Fargo's a championship weekend?
Championship night.
Okay. Okay.
Them guys are pretty upset. We had a message. Rich Pavlicek, we've got to know him over the years because he's come over and raced with us over here enough times. Mm-hmm. And then Rick Schultz has mentioned it a couple times. He's been over here.
Rick's been here. Yep.
Not happy about Fargo running their championship night this weekend.
No. Well, I mean, and it's a jaunt. I mean, it's 280 miles, so
that might deter.
You miss one night, and
might deter some cars from coming over from over there. I'm not 100% sure, but
it'd be cool to have Colin Hibden here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's going to Boone or not.
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
guess
guys.
I don't know that answer either. He could be here. Well, he'll have to race Fargo, but
a lot of the guys are migrating to Boone starting as early as tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
they are.
We were mentioned on an IMCA post. Minot, North Dakota was as one of 6 cities. Minot, North Dakota is one of 6 cities across the country to have double-digit entries for the Super Nationals.
Wow.
How cool is that?
Wow. Big city numbers with a small town atmosphere, huh?
Well, that just tells you the talent that comes out of here around Central North Dakota.
And it kind of puts into perspective maybe what we'll have for car counts this weekend or drivers. You're not going to see the Kyler Satrin. You're not going to see Brock Peter. You're not going to see Robbie Roselli. Adam Goff. You're not going to see Justin Medler.
Is Mike Hagen's car going in?
Mike is staying here in North Dakota.
Mike's going to stay.
Yep.
Okay.
He's going to race Motor Magic in his car, his stock car.
Okay, because there's some talk of him jumping in with Brock. So.
Nope, as of now, Brock's going.
Okay.
Han Solo.
Yeah, so, well, I mean.
But you're going to have a great group of drivers sticking around.
Good on the group that's going to Boone to represent. We'll be, I'd say, cheering accordingly.
In our 68-degree, nice, comfy living room rather than their 98-degree, humid Iowa weekend.
Yeah,
or week.
I've been blessed to have the opportunity to be there many times, and it is humid and it is still warm. With that said, we're going to be warm here too. Our date and our temperature is going to be about the same. September 1st, 9-1, 9-2, 9-3.
It's going to be a warm weekend.
Yeah, it is. So, again, Motor Magic, Motor Mania, Harvest 100, it's always on Labor Day weekend. I remember some with snow in the air. That will not be the case this year. It's hard to believe. It's always the same time, and the weather can be a 40-degree swing or more. In this case, it'll be more. So
remember a couple years ago, we were talking about going into the weekend with track prep and different things, and we seen the forecast of mid-70s all weekend, and we were both like, yes.
God. Everybody's going to enjoy this from crew to driver to fan. Yeah.
A heck of a challenge on a weekend like this, being in the mid-90s all weekend.
Yeah.
Track crew.
Bright blue sky.
Track crew has wind. I heard there's supposed to be some wind.
I heard wind, yeah. Dilly gave me the deal. Warm and windy all weekend. I'm like, thanks for the reminder. So, yeah.
The drag strip will probably be ready to move their drag strip somewhere else by the end of the weekend. If the wind
They're going to hate us.
If the wind is blowing in their direction.
Yeah. We don't do that on purpose, but it does happen. So they try to do as much as they can before we start.
But that makes for some awesome atmosphere when we're watching circle track and the drags are going too. I mean, it's just like this is cool.
Yeah.
We might need that dome for the drag strip so that way the dust doesn't settle on that drag strip.
You can borrow the dome over Labor Day weekend.
Right between corners 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Of course, we're going to need a shutdown area. Well, the corner will shut them down. We'll think of something.
So Motor Magic, 3 nights, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They went with a 6 p.m. start time all weekend long to keep it consistent.
And I understand that. And, of course, once you know the weather, you want to change the questions. 6 makes sense if it was going to be 43 degrees out. 6 is too early at 92 degrees out. So, but, again, you have to make these calls in the middle of winter.
They're going to have the work cut out for them. God bless them.
Yeah.
Friday night.
Say a prayer for them. They're going to need it. So.
Are you going to be at the races Friday, or do you have a wedding this weekend?
I have a wedding Saturday.
But are you going to be at the races Friday?
I believe so.
What do you feel about joining me in the booth to call some races?
I will definitely let you know on that. I just got to make sure I don't have a bachelor party or something like that rolling.
Or the Last Supper.
Let me know.
Okay.
Nick Holberg is going to be at high school football. And he told us this at the beginning of the year that he wasn't going to make it, and I did a piss poor job of planning.
If you can miss me for this stock car feature, I might jump up there.
Come on up.
You go.
What night, Friday?
Friday night. Yeah. You can park your car.
You answer first,
No,
Greg, but
I'm pretty sure I got to fulfill my obligations.
Well, when you have a wedding on Saturday, I kind of know what you're doing on Friday.
Yeah, it's usually the dinner.
You're right.
The dinner or some sort of party or the walkthrough.
Yeah. I called it the Last Supper, but you know what I mean.
I know exactly.
I wasn't going to go that route, but if in that case, condolences from us to them.
Oh, shoot.
So, yeah, I'll be up there all by myself on Friday. Jeff Barta is going to handle the Victory Lane stuff, so you'll get to listen to the sultry voice of Brandon Beater all night.
Are you serious about trying that, announcing and then jump into the racing? that will create some great theater because then you can get, hey, well, here's what the track's doing. I like that.
It's the jog up the steps that I'm nervous about.
You might as well, when you go down to race the stock car, you might as well just stay down there because by the time you get up after the stock car feature, it's going to take you 15 minutes or half the mod race.
Well, I got hooked in tech there the other night. I didn't even see any of the mod feature, but
maybe
I'll get a pit man to go bring it back. So
to make it easier for you, you move the announcing stand to the catwalk.
That would be easier.
I'll just send you with the wireless.
Over here in corner 2.
Just send you with the wireless mic.
Yeah. Well, it would be fun.
We know he's got the gift to gab, so I think that's going to be covered.
Yeah, but I think we're looking for a 3-hour program, not a 4, a 5.
How does this fall on me?
This fall on me? It's a Friday night.
Yeah. With that said, we're not getting out of here without some dome talk. So
we've talked about it already a little bit.
No. We have mentioned it. So is it dome talk time?
No, it's Fear the Rear time.
Fear the Rear. Okay.
So you think back for the whole weekend. You're talking about all the championships. What's your Fear the Rear moment?
My Fear the Rear is a Chris Hortness race in Estevan. The ultimate in adversity. 1 point behind going in. Again, Adam's a dear friend of mine. There's no diss on Adam at all. But full kudos to Chris. He survived everything thrown at him and come back and won that feature and won that championship. Wow. That was I mean, the sport mod feature in Williston was good. But
that stock car feature
Chris
took the cake.
Won it.
Yeah.
He battled his
won it.
He battled his emotions, which can ruin anybody.
Yeah. He kept him in check and kept him going forward. Didn't let him blow up.
Probably
and
used
spin
it
out.
to his advantage.
Possibly.
If I'm watching the football game and my wife says take the trash off, my night's shot. I can't control my.
I can't come back. You ruined me. I missed the replay. So exactly. So. Again, I've shared that I think he's an ultimate racer anyway, and this one was awesome. This one was awesome.
It was.
That's mine. So
I'm with you 100%. I'm going to give a second place to Lily Christensen, coming back out in the feature. Fear the Rear. Didn't give up, rolled her car over, came back out.
Dad, I'm racing the feature.
Dad, I'm racing.
That's what Drew told me.
Forced Drew to fix the car for the feature.
Dad, I want to race the feature. And she did. So I love it.
Yeah.
So
2 great Fear the Rear moments. Did you have one from the weekend, or are you jumping on with us?
They're good. They're good. I just wanted to – I think my Fear the Rear is all of the track champions. I mean, the sacrifice that you do to obtain a championship, the dedication. I mean, to get it, it's you got to be all in. You can't think about anything else. You got to be Fear in the Rear and going Friday night.
It's a dimension all its own. It really is. It's a you think weird thing. So
champions, my hat's off to all the champs.
That's nice.
Congratulations.
That's nice. Yeah. Again, I speak for everybody. We're glad it's over. I'm pretty sure I speak for everybody.
I'm glad it's over. Well, I'm not glad summer's over.
Not that part, but the points racing.
Yeah. Which
means it could be over with a month earlier and still have summer left. Okay. Another day, another time. Marketplace Dome. Okay, so
you've got some.
So I know. I mean, everybody on board knows that this is still just a fallacy, right? Right? Okay, but I'm here to tell you, our crowd is getting interested in this. Our own Jeff Barda approached me in Williston. He said, hey, on the Marketplace Dome, he said, I'm all in. I like it. He said, I'm going to go somewhere with this. He goes, but make sure you include a Caribou coffee in there.
Well, why wouldn't we?
I said, Jeff, I mean, I was struck by lightning. I said, Jeff, I am dreaming about this all wrong. I'm dreaming of this as a donation. I said, no. I said, Jeff, I'm going to share this. I said, this is yours, and you have re-threaded me. I'm going at this all wrong. I'm going at this as a donation. I want to go at this as a business venture. This thing is no longer poor pitiful racing. Let's help you out. No. This is a monster now. This is the Marketplace Dome. We sell vending. Marketplace Food supplies all the food side of it. You have to, like the North Dakota State Fair, you have to pay to get involved in this thing. This thing is going to carry itself. This is a business venture.
The Mall of
Caribou
America
Coffee.
started with some talk just like this.
This thing, I have faith now. I was thinking small. Jeff wants to make sure he's got his coffee in there, and that springboarded me
Now there's
100 miles an hour the other way.
We'll have a Taco Bell in there.
McDonald's?
McDonald's.
Well, hold on. We got to be selling Chester fried chicken in there too. For
Chester
Marketplace.
fried chicken.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we won't let another chicken joint in
Hey.
there. It's your chicken.
Dakota Dave, we need a bootleggers. Absolutely.
Yep.
We need it all. I'm serious. I'm thinking $400 million deal here, and everybody's involved.
The concourse behind the main grandstand, you're going to be able to go down there, and we're going to have big screens with the races on.
Yeah.
So when you go get your burger, your fries.
You're waiting in line. You're seeing
waiting in
Heat
line,
3.
You're seeing Heat 3. You run down there, and you're watching the races, and you can hear Nick Hulberg's voice call the races right over the speakers that are right in the concourse.
That's all that's in there is the race call.
Yeah, when you're getting your Taco Bell, your burger, your Chester chicken.
Are we building condos in turn 2? Because I just want to live there.
Knoxville has it. Yeah. Absolutely. Penthouses. Oh, yes, sir. That's what's going to carry this thing. He said, make sure you got Caribou Coffee on there. So why wouldn't we? It's Marketplace. And then I thought, I'm off a mile on this thing. Don't stop there.
You got to keep
If you've
pushing.
ever been to Eldora, they got Pizza Hut and they got da-da-da-da-da. But they don't have the cover.
Hey, there's a fella.
That's the difference.
There's a fella in Texas, Jerry Jones. He had a dream, built his stadium. We got to keep pushing it.
Guys, I'm 60 in February. Don't let me miss this. Don't let me miss this. I'm doing my part. Jeff lit a fire. I am. When's this township meeting? Because now this is happening. Your investors that you got to answer to that we're gonna. Hey, ever been to races? I'm past that. I'm past that.
With that being said, though, Katie Ruby was in my office today. And she loves to take care of you Hall of Famers.
Nice.
And I'm proud to say that Marketplace will be sponsoring your dinner there for Saturday. So
beautiful.
It only makes sense. Thank you, Craig.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Katie.
As you guys were talking there, I updated the rundown. So the last thing on our rundown is no longer is it final thoughts.
Nah.
Dome talk.
Don't talk. Many people, as I've shared, listen to us. They don't actually watch us, and that probably is a good thing. But at any rate, this Dome Talk, it's a real part of this deal. So.
if you're watching, the view doesn't change a whole.
Well, no, but.
Well, when I put a graphic up every now and then,
we got some bank corners and stuff like that.
I cover us up, and then I come back.
Yeah, I can sneak a cough in. Right. Yeah. So, the energy is real.
People are talking.
You're right.
We are
Jimmy
influencers
Jones.
here on this show.
It starts with a dream, and it might have started with a little bit of funny talk, but I don't know where it ends. Jeff had mentioned make it so you can put a stage up and all that and have concerts. I'm like, this thing is carrying itself.
But we're not going to remove the front straightaway.
No, it'll go on top.
Right.
We'll just scaffold over the top type. We're not ruining the track.
We'll put crew right in the middle. They can sing right in the middle and we can party around it.
Yeah, honestly, if it's not going to rain on the dirt, you can just party
just
right
stand
on the dirt.
Yeah. Get the real effect. Hey, why are we all slanted here? Well, because they race cars here. Well, let's come back for that too.
Yep, exactly.
Why wouldn't you want it to be slanted so you can see the stage?
Yeah. So if you decided to set down or fall down, at least you're banked into the party here. So, right. I was wondering how this thing was going to carry itself. I'm not wondering anymore. This is a vendor's paradise here. This is the house, the Marketplace house. I like it. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff does a lot of wonderful things, and he has completely re-energized me, and I never was unenergized.
I'm not feeling the energy.
You're not feeling it?
I'm just kidding. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, okay. You have to be involved.
Oh, I'm in.
So, again, Christmas party season's coming. Let me know who, what, and where.
We will be there.
We will be there.
We will be there.
I'll put on a suit, whatever you need. So I like it.
I'll put on a pink suit, and I can be the entertainment.
That has happened. Yeah. And I've worn a green suit. That color green.
We have a green one too.
Right, and a purple one.
See, as we keep going here, I'm just going to switch around our rundown. So we went with the racing recap, the upcoming schedule. We did the Fear of the Rear. We did our dome talk. Now we're to the hot sauce.
Hot
topic.
sauce.
We're going to end the show every week with the hot sauce.
Hot
topic.
sauce. Okay.
People need to stick around for the full show. We apologize if you didn't want to be here for the first 2 hours and 9 minutes. But here we are for the hot sauce topic of the week.
Most people, again, listen to it in parts. So they listen to it throughout the week. Most
I
are ready for a new version.
I don't know
right
if you
now.
physically could watch it from bell to bell.
Right. All right. Putting it on is easy. I'm listening to it might not be. So, where are we at on hottie sauce?
You got one?
I think I can. I got a question.
I always look to you, Craig.
We look to you as the race fan because you look at things a different way than we do.
And I like it.
I
And
do.
we do not prep these before the show.
Oh, I come with nothing.
So
no notes.
with Nodak being my home track, I loved the show that we ran on Sunday. Great show. I've got a question. One race. I love Jason Berg, love Mad Mike Hagan, and I've talked quite often about how in your class, I think prison rules sometimes.
Prison rules.
Well,
okay.
They police themselves out there. Anyway, we're in the heat race, and Jason Berg and Mad Mike Hagan, they're doing their dance, back and forth, back and forth.
I see Brandon searching, so.
No, keep going.
And we're going hard into 4. It starts probably in 3, but we're going into 4, and Jason slides up into Mike, and they make contact. I wouldn't say egregious contact, but there's enough where my experience says you just did something there.
You scratched Mike.
And the 27X is like,
most people don't need that in their life. So.
He is the warden of the prison.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we continue on, and I can tell.
This is the first heat. I'm in the second heat. I'm in the lineup. Okay, I want to make sure I know where I'm at here.
I
not in the race. So
we talked about emotions of Mr. Hortness, keeping them in check. I can tell at that point that Mad Mike Hagan has one goal and one goal in mind, to get to the rear end of Jason Berg. And he obtains that going into, on the backstretch, going into 3. And he gets a hold of Jason and dumps him. But my question, my topic.
As a driver in the car, I see that they both got sent to the pits. So.
And that's my question. Why did Jason get sent?
I guess
I see.
Somebody else would answer this better than me, Bruce maybe, and I'll try to answer for him if I can. I'm guessing what Bruce saw was the original contact coming out of 4, little beating and banging down the front straightaway. I went back and watched the video because I didn't see it live. I was in the pits with Max. And
I was in my car.
He felt that with that contact, the contact with Mike spinning Jason out on the back straightaway was a continuation of that.
They canceled each other and they both went to the pits.
And they just said both go to the pits at that time. It's been common that he does that. I think he ended up doing it in Williston once, I want to say, to somebody too.
So Jason would have been the victim of the retaliation?
Yep.
But then my question to that is, if we go to the hobby stock feature and we have our champion Kyler Satran and Caden Appelt, almost the identical situation going into 4 where Caden slides into Kyler with much more enthusiasm than Jason Berg did to Mad Mike Hagan.
I see where he's going with this.
I mean, he's
going to get us in trouble on this one.
He put the full body slam on Kyler to the point where I think Kyler's missing a tooth.
So you're saying, why is it okay for one and not for the other? The age-old question in racing. And again, I'm not going to get involved in judgment calls, but that's where the department is going to get. That's where we're going to telephone. We're going to telephone the judgment call department. Okay, so I'm blind here. I'm in the cars, but I'm going to say that Bruce called the Jason Mike deal tit for tat, and let's see, how am I going to say this? Mike didn't stop, but Jason did stop. And at that time, it was time to tally it up, and they were both minus 20, so they both went to the pits. Okay.
But there was
the
3
Kyler
or 4
deal,
laps between, right?
Oh, there was a gap between. It wasn't just down to
It
4
wasn't-
and then out of 2. There was some time.
3 or 4 laps between,
Right.
I believe. I think the initial contact, I watched the video back. I think happened lap 2 or 3. And then 3 laps later is when he got spun down the back straightaway.
Took Mike a little while to get back there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, again, I got to be careful. I still race.
And this is the class that you race in.
Yeah, right. And with both of them, so.
I agree. I definitely can see where Bruce is coming from.
It's a tough job.
For the
and I think he does a good job of it.
But for the betterment of the show, I would like to see Jason and Mike continue on. But anyway.
Yeah, we believe that's an option at times.
So
it was a heat race. So okay.
Caden moves on, and to Kyler's point, if he would have gone full Mike Hagan mode on Caden, he could have.
Okay.
So if he
Chase
does,
him down for a retaliation,
cost him his championship.
Yeah.
Unless if he went full retaliation mode into turn 1,
and they send
and
them both.
the call would have been both of them to the pits.
Could have done that too.
Yeah.
That's spicy.
Yeah.
That's spicy. But
Ooh.
I think I
Hot
see where
to
you're
the
going
touch.
with this. I think I do. So the actions of Jason Berg during Mike Hagan coming out of 4 initially didn't have any consequences.
They were both continuing.
They were both continuing to race.
On. Okay.
Now, 3 or 4 laps later, when Mike dumps Jason Berg going down the back straightaway, because it was a full-on dump. Let's call it what it was. It wasn't an accidentally get into the left rear. It was a.
I would have won $1 million saying that was going to happen. That is all that Mike wanted to do, and I expected
now,
it.
3 or 4 laps later, now all of a sudden, Jason Berg is getting punished, in essence, for something that happened 3 or 4 laps ago coming out of turn 4.
That if Mike didn't catch him, nobody would have gotten anything?
That if Mike didn't catch him, nobody would have gotten anything. So what you're saying is if you're punishing Jason Berg at that point for his contact out of turn 4, why aren't we punishing
7.
Caden for his contact in turn 3 and 4 on Kyler? But now the only way that Caden gets punished is if Kyler retaliates. Is that where you're going with this? I'm trying to piece all this together.
100%.
I guess that's what I'm hearing. There's not the question ain't wrong. I'm not sure what the answer is. Well, I do know what the answer is. We're all human, and we roll at human speed. Also, I'm going to diffuse this a little bit because I've sometimes went on record saying we get flagged or judged by how we normally drive, not necessarily against a code of ethics. How we normally drive, and I'm okay with that. So we've accepted. I don't want to drop names here. We've accepted a little bit more out of Caden than we have out of other people because that's how he normally drives. So is that right or wrong? Where do you go to fix that? Does it need to be fixed? I'm not sure, and I'm not sure.
I know where that gets fixed. It gets fixed by the prison rules.
Okay. Yeah.
Mike has taken care of it. Mike is saying, don't drive me like that because I'm going to put a boot in your back end. So there's a boot in Caden's back end if he drives like that in his next stock car race. If he moves up to the stock class, try that on Joe Flory, try that on Mad Mike Hagan. We saw that with Dalton.
We saw it with Jason and Dalton.
Yeah.
And Williston, the last race before this past week.
It gets taken care of.
So that brings up another scenario.
Boys have at it.
The
prison rules, I like that. it's fitting. So
the Jason and Dalton deal in Williston.
It sounds like the same thing.
Jason gets into Dalton.
Dalton feels he's gotten ground on a little more than necessary.
Dalton spins him out going into the next corner purposely.
Oh, I think you're polishing that up a little bit.
Polishing it up.
He went full Monty. Full Monty on him.
Yeah.
Only Dalton went to the pits.
Yeah.
Jason continued on.
Yeah. defend Bruce all the time. It's a tough job.
It's a
it's a tough job.
We're not picking on you, Bruce.
No,
Please
not at
do
all.
not take
Not
this
at
as
all.
us picking on you.
Yeah.
And
Just
actually,
a situation that we're talking about.
and I'm actually not trying to leave Bruce out of it. I'm just saying this is where prison rules prevail
Well,
because it will police itself.
It seems like
over the years that has been said. It will police itself. But yeah.
Okay, let's slow this down even more. What if championship isn't on the line? Because Kyler could have dumped him at any time.
I've heard that he was probably lined up and could have, but he stayed focused on
The championship.
race
the
within
bigger
the race.
picture. The big picture.
Yeah,
Because actually,
getting 3 pieces of
whether
hardware.
Caden gets into Kyler, nothing happens to Kyler's car. He's able to continue. In my mind, cooler head prevails because ultimately stamping your name as a champion is a bigger, way bigger voice or a way bigger prize than getting your retaliation the next corner.
But you're not thinking about that in the moment of the emotion.
Props to Kyler for actually thinking about it before he got to turn 1.
Okay, what about this?
Yeah.
You talked about
Chris
how
Hartness is Superman.
Chris Hartness
is Superman.
kept his mental focus on winning that championship.
But you mentioned how Max kind of got in the way of Kyler up in Estevan, and you were worried about possibly cutting a tire down. What if
Yeah.
Kyler's
What if?
Tyler goes down because of the contact in 4, and he's got a pit?
Yeah.
So then what's the call?
I'm not speaking for Bruce, but Bruce is not going to let that go down as easy as it sounds. Caden's going in with him. Caden's going to the back for aggressive driving, and they're both going to be in the back because Kyler had changed a tire. That's my quick call.
If there's a scenario that Kyler ends
but
up with
that's a great scenario. I'm glad Bruce didn't have to make that call.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm super
or anyone.
glad.
So,
Super glad. But
yeah.
there comes a point. Unfortunately, my son seems to be the one that started this whole aggression, fighting back thing. Prison rules, as you say. He's the first one on August, 6th, 2023 of the 23 race season that decided he had enough of Caden Appelt, and he took Caden out going into turn 1. Now, nobody got injured. No cars got hurt. Max was the first one to do it. Max lived a race on because I don't think you could tell from the stands that it was a intentional takeout. Fast forward to the end of the race, Scott takes Max out. Both go to the pits. My question, I don't want to get myself in trouble, so I'm trying to pose this question. Are we punishing, is the guy doing the policing that's doing the spin out, the more egregious spin out at the end, whether it be Max in that case with Caden, Scott in that case with Max, Dalton in the case with Jason. Well, that's not a real case because only Dalton went to the pits.
I see.
Okay.
Mike and Jason Berg.
Is the guy doing the retaliation getting away with more than the guy trying to pass him and having a racing bump or a racing door or touch. So basically you're punishing. So Jason Berg gets punished for, in Jason Berg's mind, I bet I have not talked to Jason.
Yeah.
But if you talk to Jason.
It was 2 laps later, it was passed.
Exactly. I'm getting punished for something that was 2 or 3 laps ago. And in Jason's mind, he probably doesn't even feel like he did anything wrong. I got into Mike a little bit. We went into the corner. We hit again going in the corner.
I can't let up.
It's a stock car
We're
class.
racing.
You guys are all racing. If you dump the throttle, you lose ground like that.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm not trying to make excuses for him.
I'm not making anybody a bad guy there, but it's a spicy deal.
This is a spicy topic.
Yeah, it is because, and again, I'm just going to nonchalantly say I feel a lot of times we get flagged or judged by how we normally drive. If we're completely out of our normalness, then we need to be reined back into our normalness. So, and I'm not picking sides. I race with, it's my class. I can't. So, but yeah, a couple laps later, but Bruce said, hey, you're both screwing around. So
Both
send
go
them
to
both.
the
And it was a
pits.
heat race, and it was a small car count. There was nothing really tragically at a price here, but we're both gonna. Everybody's gonna be back this weekend for 3 days.
It's one
Hope
of
I'm
them.
not in the middle.
It's one of them.
So-
It's one of them deals.
Uh-huh.
I know. For 8 years, on being on the board of directors at NODAC, we have had many, 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 many people come to our board meetings, several, wanting us to become the police. So when an incident like Jason getting into Mike, Caden getting into Kyler, what causes the whole thing, the initial cause, they want us to call that in the moment. Boone does it. You're going to go to you're going to tune into Super Nationals starting Monday. You can turn into the Prelude starting Saturday. I'm sure
Okay.
you're going to be torn. You're going to have
The
Darn
Last Supper.
TV, Prelude, side by side, and you're going and looking at the wedding. Who needs to dance with me? What are we doing?
What? Me?
I don't get torn. I love my stuff here.
Oh,
The wedding thing and the races, yes, but the darn TV I'm here.
so they've wanted us down in Boone. If it's a Caden, if it's a Jason into Mike or a Caden into Kyler, I've seen them call that as aggressive driving or questionable.
Okay.
Questionable driving, take it to the pits
At speed.
at speed.
Okay. Interesting.
If they feel it's an over-aggressive move or they question your move there, let's say you go in and you just door them, you take over the lead, next lap, questionable driving.
I
I've
would
watched them
rather
doing it.
get that all day long.
I've watched them do it.
Than no Joe Flory's coming for me. All day long. I'd rather be laying in my dish.
Well.
Yeah, but how about you don't do it so you don't have that problem?
Yeah.
So, and I get where you're coming from because
Yeah.
the Jason one goes punished only because Mike spun him out
Mike
on the
caught him.
backstretch. Mike caught him.
Got him. So.
And Caden's goes unpunished, no repercussions at all
Because.
Kyler chose to win a championship.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what we're saying, right?
We're racing for a championship. I backhanded you. You took it and won.
Exactly. We're going to get in trouble for this topic.
Yeah.
Bruce is probably going to corner me on Friday.
I've had enough. I got nothing left. It is spicy. I like your spiciness. Man, it's getting pretty warm. So, well, again, judgment calls are tough, and we do expect them in North Dakota. So
Right.
we're going to get them.
Yep.
And I've talked at drivers' meetings. So if we did you a little wrong this time, you probably got away with a couple. That's always been my deal because
It's going to even itself out in the long run.
sometimes it just goes bad, and you don't know why. And that might have been Hortness's deal, but he was able to just stay focused and get it done. But had he not been in a championship deal, there could have been just an outrage there. But come the middle of June next year, maybe he's going to get into Mike, and Mike's going to get that call, or whatever the case may be. And it takes a while, but I think it always stays pretty even. Another thing I've noticed, that if you're in the conversation a lot, you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be in the conversation a lot. I'll leave it right there. So Travis Hagen's never in the conversation when it comes to wrecking.
Yeah, how does he do that, huh?
So, yeah, Travis is never in it.
Will Shareski's
He's never in the conversation when it comes to wrecking.
Yeah,
so,
we're never in it.
So, no, I'll leave it there.
One thing also is if you're in the conversation, you're usually running at the front.
Yeah.
So all of these instances were running at the front.
And
So if it was happening in the
some
back,
of these guys that straighten out the crooked cars, I'm not saying they're wrong either. There's just some cars that are just too sideways. So, and I'm not saying that on any of the particular instances we're talking about. I'm talking racing in general. I mean, there's this. You talked about it in the front wheel drives there, the experience and the inexperience and all that there. So sometimes the old guys just straighten you out because you needed help. so
Yeah.
Constructively.
I might get a lot of hate mail after this one. I talked about the whole track having artificial talent. Then we talk about this at the end.
Boy.
I'm probably going to be pulled to a
Well,
Tuesday night meeting next week, I'm guessing.
I don't want to pull down any energy off the dome, so we're going to change gears if we lose any energy on the dome. So, okay.
We do not mean to ruffle any feathers. We're just talking about the things that happen.
Yeah.
We're talking racing.
Talking racing.
You guys are driving down the road and you don't want to listen to music. You want to listen to us. We got to give you a time slot. We're giving you a time slot.
I'll put in the little description. Don't listen to the last 20 minutes.
It's just our bad opinions and nothing more. So,
with that, I don't have anything else.
Yeah,
We'll have a lot after this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday night.
Again, wicked hot. No rain in the forecast till Monday.
You've had a lot of luck at Motor Magic.
Through
won
the
a
years,
couple.
I haven't wore out my stuff somewhere else. I'm wearing it out here. So, as I say, my Minot stops have been tough. I've raced somewhere else once or twice before I get here.
Well, your shop's here. You got both your cars here.
Yeah, both cars are running.
Your support is here.
Dilly came up on Tuesday and resprung me. He got 4 different springs in it. And all he tells me is just drive it, and that's just what I'm going to do. I haven't had. He drives up from Washburn, works on my car. I'm on the backhoe, and I'm on it long enough that he goes back home, and I got what I got. I'm changing the oil, setting the valves, and I'm in the Dilly Bar Express DBI 2. This is 2. The first one has got red numbers. The second one's got yellow numbers.
So how are you choosing which car you're going to drive the 3 nights? Is it going to be a staggered deal?
Only if things go wrong. We're going to go at it with the bright green car just because we got it out so late. We want to give it 3 nights of Motor Magic. Hopefully we can learn something. Fall roundup will be back to the other car, the car I ran Saturday night in Williston. And at that point, we're going to decide which one is our best bet going into Oktoberfest. And that'll be our year.
I don't want to second
what about
guess.
Dilly Bar driving one at Oktoberfest?
Well, maybe we're going to try a practice day in Underwood the weekend after. So
I'm not second guessing Dylan Barnhart's expertise, but I will say this.
You'd be the first.
I will say this.
Sorry, Dilly.
I think the chrome wheels need to go on whatever car's on the track.
I got chrome on both of them right now.
There we go.
So I had green on one car for a while, but it started to fade. So, well, you got me all. Yeah, we're cleaning chrome wheels now. Doggone it. There's so much to do.
Did you notice chrome wheel on Brock's left rear?
Remember I noticed the blue one on.
Yeah.
I noticed those wheels, man. Everyone's all into. Well, I'm the product of the 80s. Everyone's into the black wheels, and this on cars on the street.
I'm just gonna let you know that they're cheaper.
Give me those old chrome Keystone Classics.
See?
Krager's.
Yeah. And our mid-70 Camaros.
Yeah.
We're still alive. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. What about the pits? There was some talk about parking in the pits.
Nope.
Oh, yeah. Great. Yeah. Nada.
The whole track prep thing changed. I'm no longer involved in track prep. So.
Yeah, okay. That was okay. Because we needed you and Max.
Yep.
And then we're going to make a little.
I have a plan for Friday night. Ryan Sebo's going to be on Max duty. So Friday night it's Sebo, and then the rest of the weekend I'll be able to be down there until feature time. Then I'll go do the interviews up in Victor Lane.
Nice.
So, Saturday night, the big highlight of Saturday night, you're going to want to get to the racetrack a little bit early. Races start at 6. 5:30, I believe we start the interviews.
Uncharted territory. So
Hall of Fame interviews. 6 inductees are going to be interviewed in front of the grandstands before the races. You guys are going to get your pictures taken and then have a conversation with moi.
Well, half hour for 6 people. What are you thinking?
That ain't happening.
What are you thinking?
Katie Ruby, if you made it this far in the show, if you watched the Dirt Weekly, made it this far, we might want to move that to 4:30.
Well, that's one way to start at 7:30. Oh, dang. All right. Well, I'll do my part. How exciting.
We'll end on that. For Craig, for Jordan, Brandon Beater here. Hopefully you don't hate us too much after some of these topics, but we're just here talking.
It's not
about
personal.
racing.
It's just general dialogue.
We're just talking.
So, see you at Motor Magic, man.
See ya.
Woo.